Welcome everybody to DreamHack Tour 2016. It's the final day of the European Minor. There are 3 teams left, Orbit, Dignitas and Hellraisers, but only 2 can make it to the offline qualifier for ESL 1 Cologne 2016. There is also $50,000 on the line, of which $30,000 will be going to first place. My name is Parla, also known as Mantruce, and I'm joined by the wonderful Pimp from SK, Helium, and of course, Natu. Guys, we've made it to the final day. How are you all doing?
Yeah, it's great. Obviously, finals day, it's where it's at. This is where we're going to be deciding the 2 teams that do get to the major qualifier. Obviously, a bit of Matt Skrilla as well, so it should be a good day of Counter-Strike.
Helium, initial thoughts?
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We also have the crowd, I think, coming in for the finals today in the arena, which I think is pretty much behind us here.
Yeah, it's like an auditorium behind us, if I'm not mistaken.
So excited for that.
Yeah, it should be really good. I mean, look, I've been in there a couple times. Heroes were getting quite loud, and of course...
League was really loud.
Yeah, League was really, really loud, and so it should be good. Pimp, are you doing all right at this point?
I'm doing all right, and I'm looking forward to today. Like, we have what I believe is the 3 best team left in the tournament, so it should be a good day of Counter-Strike.
Yeah, well, our first matchup is Orbit versus Dignitas. It's the winners bracket final. These teams have been doing quite well by this point. They've been looking quite comfortable. I would say I'm quite surprised with how Orbit have come out of this tournament and really put on quite a show. What do you think, Natu?
Yeah, I think Orbit has been the one team that has actually looked probably the most consistent, a team that is usually very known for their inconsistency. On the other hand, Dignitas, a little bit sketchy here and there. I think that they've gone this far because of great individual performances from players like Yerbu and from like Config, for example. So, I don't know, it's going to be an interesting one. These 2 teams have clashed one another in the past as well. Obviously, at this tournament with a 13-16 or 16-13 win rather for Dignitas in a game that Orbit could have had just as well. So I think this is going to be a really tight one.
Yeah, what about Hellraisers? Hellraisers are going to be playing the loser of that match between Orbit and Dignitas. Who should Hellraisers be looking to play? Actually, firstly, why don't we talk about who do you think is going to win that first match, just before we get into the details about it?
The Hellraisers match?
No, the Dignitas Orbit match.
Oh,
who
Dignitas
do you think will go on
match.
to play?
Well, I mean, you have to expect Dignitas, right? I mean, they're the bigger team. They're the team that not too long ago were challenging mostly all of the Tier 1 teams, and their Cobble was so feared. But in the recent months, it seems like they've been on a slump. They were maybe even dethroned as the kings of Cobble kind of by Tempo Storm at the Sivo LAN. Also, you guys, SK, you crushed them. You beat them 16-3 on Cobble. And then yesterday, we had actually Orbit and Dignitas already play, so that's like maybe a little preview to what we're going to have today. That was, like you said, 16-13, and honestly, there were some crazy things that happened at the end of that. Orbit could have had it. They could have been the team that went through 2-0. Instead, they played Epsilon and beat them in a best-of-3, but you still have to say Dignitas.
Funnily, Orbit did tell us, right, that they would prefer to play Dignitas. They thought it was a better matchup for them, but then they did end up going on to lose. Maybe now in another best-of-3, they will do better this time. Who knows? But who do you think Hellraisers would prefer to play?
I don't think it really matters to them, to be honest with you. I mean, at this point, it's only two options, really. I guess you could say that maybe they want to rather play Orbit, could be the case. On the other hand, I think it was Zero was talking about yesterday how Dignitas is a bit of a problematic team for them. But then you want to think about Dignitas and Hellraisers. Stylistically would actually, in my opinion, be a good matchup for Hellraisers, because they like to be aggressive and Dignitas likes to be really, really strategy-based team.
Was it Hellraisers that said that they aren't as good a match for Dignitas?
I thought it was.
Okay, cool. Now I'm just double-checking just to clarify that, yeah.
I'm pretty sure he said that.
Yeah. Well,
if someone knows better, correct me.
No, not at all. I wasn't implying that. I was trying to get it correct in my head, because it is interesting. A lot of the teams are pointing out, oh, we think this team is a better match for us, this team isn't, and then sometimes it doesn't quite go the way that they think. How does that happen, maybe from a player's perspective?
Well, it's like when you go into a best-of-3 match, it's always a new game. Like, you have a past against a lot of the teams, and you've played them many, many times before, and like when you go into a new game, it's always a fresh start. Obviously, sometimes it plays into your mind that you maybe lost the last 3 matches against the team, but you know that when you start a new game, we're starting from scratch, and you have a chance of winning. I think it was Sarah who said yesterday.
Oh yeah, online matches they had a lot of issues again.
Exactly, and as well as in practice, they don't like practicing against Dignitas because they cross them every time. And if that comes down to a stylistic part of it, I don't know, but I think they have like some kind of mental block when playing Dignitas, as you have seen with other teams as well, like when Astralis couldn't beat Fnatic for a period, or when Fnatic couldn't beat Astralis for a period, but beat everyone else. Like there are some weird thing going on that is hard to pinpoint, but definitely like mental blocks and all that kind of stuff could be a factor.
Let's look at the teams in a bit more detail, starting off with Orbit. Helium, would you like to run us through them?
Yeah, so Bubble at the top there, he's the guy that's really stepped up with that op, and he's been that secondary star actually consistent through this tournament. So that's making up for Dreamer's absence, and then, again, Dreamer is absent. So we've got Punisher standing in here, possibly replacing overall. Spy leader, the IGL, the tactician for this team. He maybe makes them stop force spying on CT side occasionally. We'll see. Victor is just insanely good. He can open up any site on any map. I don't know how he does it. If we get him on the desk again, we'll make sure to ask him. And then NKL, more of a supporting role kind of on the team, helping everybody out.
The team have definitely been putting up some decent numbers at this tournament. Like we've established already over the course of us talking, they are still not necessarily reaching their full potential. If anybody hasn't kind of heard what we've been speaking about, it's the fact that they can't play with a consistent 5 because of their issues with their 5th Dreamer, who's not here.
Issues.
Yeah.
I like it. I like how you put that. No, but my problem with this team really is that stylistically speaking, sometimes their executes are super sloppy. They just like to go guns blazing when they need to be a little bit more systematic, especially against, let's say they play against like a Force Buy, for example, which they're kings of themselves. But attacking against the Force Buy, you want to use all your Molotovs, smokes, flashes to try to like get all the possible CTs, especially on the T side. Try to get CTs off from all the corners with the Molotovs, but they don't really do that. They just go out guns blazing, and usually they end up losing 2 or 3 players, cost them a lot of money. So I think a little bit of polish would be great for their T side play.
It's one of the things that you've mentioned, that you originally mentioned about them, and they've had like a mixed success with the Force Buys in this tournament so far. Would you say it's been more of a hindrance to them or more of a positive?
I think at this level of Counter-Strike it can work for them, but whenever they're playing as any better teams, like the tier 1 teams, that's when it becomes an issue, because they know exactly how to play against Force Buys. They played against the old LDLC and Envy enough to know how to handle that situation. So it's something I think they really need to focus on if they want to ever progress from this tier 2 level to a tier 1 team.
Yeah.
Helium, do you have anything to add
I
to
think
that?
the problem is going to be kind of weird logic, but the problem is almost Victor's too good, right? Because they don't need to use the nades. They don't need to use the utility, because anytime they play a team of even skill or a team of lesser skill, Victor and also Dreamer, because they've been playing with them online, just run over people. They don't even need the nades.
I've heard of a team that used to think of that. It's called NIP.
There you go.
Yeah, well, those parallels can definitely be made. Why don't we now introduce the next team, their opponents, Dignitas. Would you like to do that, as you are the countryman, the brother?
Like a former team member of Dignitas as well. I've been playing with all of them before. We have Tensky, Config, MSL, Kirby, and Rubino. And like the 2 main guys on this team would be Config and Kirby. Those are the 2 that you have to look out for. Those are the 2 putting up the big numbers, usually. The way Dignitas is built up is around MSL and Config gaining the map control on all of the maps, taking the initial fights if they meet an aggressive team. And then they have like Rubino and Tensky to fall back on. Like, let's say that they end up in a 3-and-C situation after the initial fight. They always have Rubino and Tensky to kind of follow up on it. And as we spoke about yesterday, Rubino is a very, very good closer, round closer. You can kind of compare him to Hiku from Team Liquid. He has some of the similar skill sets to close out rounds. Like when he's in a 1-on-2, 1-on-1, even 1-on-3s, he always has a chance of winning. Same goes on for Tensky. So like they have a lot of depth in the team, and they have the 2 star players. They have a great caller, and they have the round closer. So they have pretty much all of it right now. Question if they can enable it.
Yeah, what do you think it's been the issue with the team though? Because it's been a struggle.
They have. I think a part of it has been lacking confidence. Like when they first formed this team, they were practicing a lot. They were practicing every day, every weekend, basically, and they felt confident going into every matchup. They had the eager and they had the motivation to win. I think a little bit of that spark has been lost lately. And when you start to lose maybe some matches you shouldn't be losing, then you start to change some settings, you start to change your mindset, and then suddenly it's like a evil circle that is very hard to break out of. And you probably know it yourself from your career. I know it myself from my own. It's very hard to break out of that evil circle. And I think they're kind of in one now. They could be on the way out of it. Like, let's say they win against Orbit and win this tournament. It would be a great achievement for them as a team, also because they've been playing not well lately. So they have some confidence problem, I believe. But a tournament like this where no top tier team is, it's like a good tournament for them to show that they are the best of the West, if you can say so.
Yeah.
Well, we are now ready for the map veto. It will be coming up on screen very, very shortly. Can you, until that, no, it's actually up right now, so we can get right into that. We're going to see the bans, of course, first. Any predictions about how this is going to go? We're going to see Cobble, maybe?
Probably. And when it comes to bans, Dignitas going to ban Dust 2, obviously.
Yes.
And then for Orbit, I mean, previously they've been banning Overpass against Dignitas, so I would not be surprised if we see that getting banned away.
They probably will. They're afraid of Dignitas Overpass. It's a very good map for Dignitas, and yeah.
Do you think we could see Mirage in there as well? Orbit might be comfortable on that.
It's probably going to be
Cash. Couple Cash, and then third map Mirage. I'm not sure.
Could be. I think Dignitas is going to pick Mirage. Actually, they've been playing well on Mirage lately.
And Orbit Cash then, because they're really confident on it. They beat 16-6 Dignitas at the Copenhagen Games.
There we go.
Previously,
okay.
So it would only make sense for them to pick Cash, and then Cobblestone. I mean, that's the thing, right? We were discussing this previously. When you met a team on a map, I think they met one another on Cobblestone. There's always a bit of a risk when you're the one that's won the map. There's so much you can learn when you've been on the losing end. So, but I guess still, I mean, Nuke probably is not going to come out. I'm quite sure at this situation you don't want to bank on Nuke coming out. So Cobblestone is the most obvious one.
That's not a bad map pool at all for Orbit. Like, let's say it gets to Cobble, like as you said, they were the one losing, and they were the one knowing that they could have won the game basically in some key rounds. So knowing that fact, it wouldn't be a bad thing if Orbit were to win Cash and going to third map, knowing it would be Cobble.
We have a short period of time left, so guys, why don't you lead into some predictions?
I think Dignitas is going to win Mirage. I think Orbit is going to win Cash, and then we have Cobble as the third map. It's hard to predict, but I have to go with Dignitas being the better team here. I think they have the experience and they have the more firepower basically in Config and Kirby. So 2-1 for Dignitas.
Helium?
Exactly the same. Cash, we saw Orbit. They crushed Hellraisers on it yesterday, 16-10. They were very dominant, so it seems likely that Orbit could take that map. Hard to argue against Dignitas winning Mirage. And then, I mean, are these maps being random? I feel like every third map has been so perfect throughout this tournament. Also, Nuke has been avoided. But every time the third maps come up, it's been Mirage a lot, and a lot of teams here share it. It's been great. And this time it comes up to be Cobble, which is going to be awesome as a third map. But 2-1 Dig.
Yeah, a lot of the same logic applies here, to my opinion, as well. Mirage should go to Dignitas, but obviously it's also about our Orbit being able to just keep off all the connector splits that Dignitas is really good at doing. Their timings are really spot on. They're really hard to keep off when they're doing that stuff. So, but Cash is going to go differently for Orbit, so I think it's going to be 1-1. And then Cobblestone, it was such a coin flip the first time around, so it's super hard to call. But I think Orbit's going to take it 2-1 in Cobblestone.
Oh, okay, so you're going 2 for Dignitas, 1 for Orbit. So there is that chance then that Dignitas, technically the favorite going into this, they could drop down into the lower bracket to play Hellraisers, but most likely the weight on the desk is behind Dignitas to go forward. We will have to see. We are ready to get into that game. It is Dignitas versus Orbit.
Mirage is map number 1 here in the winner bracket finals at DreamHack Tour, the European minor. It's going to be exciting. We already saw Orbit play it once. They won in overtime up against Epsilon, but Epsilon a very different type of opponent compared to Dignitas.
Oh yeah, don't really know if they can take much out of that one. Epsilon obviously being a surprise package. We didn't really get to see a lot of that, but this matchup, there seems to be some dynamic here between these two teams. They are always matched are close. At least the series is super close. We saw 3-mapper Copenhagen Games just a couple months back, and then obviously the 16-13 game we saw on Cobblestone could have easily gone the way of Orbit. So Dignitas, for me, like we were discussing there with Pimpa Paolo, was the fact that their confidence seems to be a little bit off every now and again. It's been the individual efforts from players like Config, for example, in this tournament that's pulled them through in situations where the momentum may have actually been switching their opponent. One of their individuals just came out big, Rubino winning like a 1-on-2s and stuff like that. We're discussing that too. So I mean, if they don't pull that out their back, then they might be in trouble with Orbit here.
Yeah, and Orbit yesterday, maybe they're just the confidence breakers because they played against Hellraisers, and we saw 2 of the most veteran players on that team, Bondic and Angel, making quite a few mistakes across the maps, Dust 2 and Cash, which was surprising, maybe playing a little too much respect to just the raw explosive power of that Orbit T side. Yeah,
and also the force buying ways, it's not easy to play against, is it? I mean, it is kind of from the force buying side, it's kind of dumb at times, but it's also really, really hard to play against because you never really know what to expect. You can't really apply any logic of how should we approach this round because we're not really sure if they're buying or not. So I think Dignitas might be one of those teams that it could actually impact quite a bit, that they don't really know what they're getting into.
All right, and for Orbit, we've said it a couple times now, but Victor and Bubble have both been fantastic, actually really throughout this entire tournament. I think Bubbles had one game that was less than a 1.0, and even that was like a 0.98. He's been well above it every single match. Same thing can go for Victor. Once they got to the best of threes, he has been incredible. And then we have our stars for Dignitas. Kirby and Config, the two young guns, have also been playing well throughout the tournament.
Exactly. But now here we go. It's going to be Mirage as the first map. And let's see which team is going to be on which side. Orbit's going to be starting on the T side. They've gone for 4 armors and one set of nades for NKL, a smoke and a flash, and a P250. Seems like they're going to be setting up for an A push here.
So we got Config watching those B tunnels, and looks like he will be that rotator, because as you mentioned, Orbit all set up in Palace. And 2 on a ramp. 1 in middle, actually still lurking around a little bit. He'll try to maybe bring down some rotators, hold them in mid a bit longer. That's going to be Bubble with the Glock, but it's Rubino who's being tested from CT. He's taken a little bit of damage and maybe has given a bit back. It's Bubble actually in middle that gets the first kill, and into the connector, fighting with Kirby. Kirby wins that one. MSL dropping out. He wants to check underpass, expecting more members of Orbit to be there, trying to split into A, but it's not the case. Orbit are still holding over in those A apartments, but Punisher out in B, and now Victor coming out of Palace with that 1 Glock onto Rubino.
What a confusing round right now from Orbit. Really, 1 player in middle trying to cause havoc, and then 1 towards B, and the bomb was all the time in that A Palace. Just waiting for the right moment. MSL trying to initiate on the Punisher. It's going to be the latter come out on top in that duel. Only Kirby left in a 104. The bomb is planted, so, well, that was a confusing pistol round, but somehow going the way of Orbit here.
Yeah, Orbit ended up just taking battles all over. Like, Bubble wins his individual battles out in middle, while he went 1 for 1, caused some more damage, got some information. But Punisher sneaking through B, and ultimately he found 2 kills. So well done for Punisher. And we've got Kirby just holding on. I mean, not much to save, but he does have the Kevlar, so that can go a long way. Get a couple more nades going into the round number 2.
Yep. Let's see what Dignitas decide to do here. If they're going to be forcing into Kirby, he's going to get a CZ with his armor. And some Deagles have also been bought. So it's going to be pistol upgrades, but not such a heavy investment. Still making sure they'll have enough utility to make sure they can get that AWP on that first weapon round. In the meanwhile, Orbit, they have 3 SMGs, 1 MAC-10, and then a couple of UMPs that we've seen quite a bit of, and there's already fights going on here in the middle. Punisher and Spy Leader getting the first ones before Tensky manages to answer to it.
Yeah, that UMP, pretty much the new gun on the scene. It's getting picked up so much, and even in rifle rounds, it stays present. But it seems the Deagle threat, for the most part, has been dealt with. You'd think on the CT side of Mirage, those Deagles staying far back. A lot of long line of sights on this map. Yeah. Rubino and Kirby try to play close up with the CZs, but as you can see, Kirby has already fallen, and Orbit continuing to play it slow with their man advantage.
Yeah, they put the UMP also. The armor penetration is so good, so that's why a lot of players actually opt to just hold on to it into the first weapon rounds as well. And then obviously playing against the force buys, it works great. But it's quite a slow approach here from Orbit. Seems like it's going to be Rubino trying to push him with Bubble. He's going to get that kill as well. Rubino down to 18 HP, but he's going to be the lone man on that A site while the push is coming in. Victor going to kill it onto Tensky on Catwalk before pushing in through Connector.
So maybe a bit of a chance here for Config. He rotated over from CT. He's got that Deagle, and he is healthy. Rubino just needs to try to stay alive a little bit longer, force these players to run by. Oh, they're actually planting in wedge. Config spotting one at the stairs, but can't land the Deagle shots onto the face, and it's Rubino very low. He's found 2 more kills, though, make it 3 on the round. Now it's him 1v1 up against Punisher, but Punisher, healthy and with the AK, will win out, but a close round.
Yeah, way too close, to say, for Orbit. Config there getting a little bit unlucky with the Deagle. The unpredictability of that gun sometimes can just throw it off so badly, because he had the full angle on the one of the Orbit players at stairs, but just wasn't able to connect with the bullets.
And look at all the SMGs, and even a Tech 9 on the field for Orbit, just expecting the pistol, no armor, ready to play Farming Simulator instead of CSGO. And there it starts off. Bubble with the first shot onto Rubino as he got aggressive into Palace one more time. And it's Kirby with his P250 pressured at CT, and he actually will back off. They're going to maybe try to... was it them that we saw pull that boost on Mirage and CT? Get the kills as Terrace kind of ran into... That was a cool
I think so, yeah. I think it was. You have to see all the way back to CT spawn. Config and Kirby in the last two. They're trying to bait Spy Leader and just running into them now. It's going to be Kirby coming in. He's going to get the kill. So at least that's one weapon away from Spy Leader. Obviously just a Mac 10, but still, it's going to be a bit of extra dollars for Kirby. Punisher is in prime position on top of this fence, waiting for Kirby to come in, but it's going to whiff a couple of these shots before connecting eventually, leaving just Config. And he's lonesome, and he's not going to find anything really out of this.
Pretty unique spot there for Punisher. I don't know if anyone's even got a kill from up there at that point, but catching some of those players for Dignitas as they try to save that one Mac 10 they took away from Spy Leader. But now this is what we want to see. So Orbit off to a quick start. They win the pistol. They survive those anti-ecos. Dignitas can't get anything done with their force supply, which consisted of a lot of deagles. But now it's the first rifle round, and this is kind of surprising. I mean, I suppose it is Mirage, but MSL pulling out that op straight away.
Yeah, he's going to be in that window position as well. And he's not going to find a whole lot yet because Orbit is taking its sweet time right now. They're just waiting for a possible aggression from the CTs, but there's not too much of it right now. It's MSL on window. I think it's Tensky there in Catwalk, just waiting for a potential push. And there's been a smoke into connector right now, and then that's going to have MSL slightly fall back. But actually, they do have this triangle of doom set up here in connector window and Catwalk for the CTs for the time being, but not going to be finding too much.
Yeah, Dignitas really focusing on that mid control. So they know that there are definitely no terrorists out in middle, which means they must be somewhere on either extremity. As it turns out, they're kind of just still sitting in T-spawn. But they are trickling back over to this A site. Bomb coming up A ramp with two others, and we do have a man in Palace.
Yeah, this is kind of weird from Orbit. They haven't really gained any map control. They have really no intel on what's going on. It's a full-on 5-on-5, and it seems like it's going to be coming up from that A ramp, but Rubino's going to be ready for it. He's getting the first one and the second with MSL. Bubble is going to be able to retaliate, but then it's all down to Rubino. And that's going to be that attack just being destroyed. I'm not really sure that's a viable option to be walking out of just A Palace and from the ramp. Once there's a minute on the clock, you have no intel on what's going on. It's one of those things that can work in the beginning of the round, but not like this.
Yeah, I mean, Rubino's in the one spot that completely shuts it down, right? Kind of the off angle. He can see them pick up to Tetris. And look at this last bullet. He had one bullet left, and he gets that headshot. Rubino completing the 4K and a small little commercial for the M4A4 users out there.
Indeed, and a great round for Dignitas, obviously not losing just one player gone down from them. So that means that a bit of economy has been built for them. Slight buffer going further. There's not going to be a possibility for that Counter-Strike nightmare we always talk about. And in the meanwhile, Orbit is taking things slow once again. Very similar start. MSL this time around. It's going to be pushing up middle, but it's going to be facing two terrorists. Spy Leader getting the first kill. Kierbu is going to be following up on this. Not sure if Orbit's ready for it. They are right now. Kierbu finally is going to connect. He's going to retaliate, but he's down to 22 HP before deciding to fall back.
It was kind of odd there by MSL. It seems like he wanted to just shoot the op to bait out the players, to force them to peek, and they did peek, but then he misses the follow-up shot, and Kirby, who was right there, who you expect maybe supposed to pick up the players that then peeked out while the op was on cycle, but he wasn't really present. He ends up having to get aggressive again when he was alone, and he does find the one kill. That evens up, but Orbit are okay with that. And now working into B, that's Punisher. He will dodge the flash and actually caught Config with his. But he's just throwing a bit of a fake, and he has pulled a rotator. Kirby's gone over there, and Rubino was moving as well. As he's shifting position, Bubble takes him down, and that's the A site opened up 4-on-3 right now. And the bomb is going to go plant behind triple.
And that's the way you can actually just walk out of the A slope, is when you create a distraction zone where when there's been trades, you will know that the CTs might be in transition, and Rubino getting caught off guard. He's trying to move off as the CT stairs. He gets picked off. It's going to be the A side lost, and Orbit looking really good in a 4-on-3 situation with Kierbu being super low on HP. As we can see from the minimap right now, it seems like Dignitas already opting to bow out of this round. Can't really blame them in this situation.
Yeah, maybe if they had a couple Molotovs and nades, throw it to Firebox or smoke off Palace and A ramp, it would have been doable. But as you mentioned, their first rifle round that they won was very dominant, and now they have saved 3 guns, so they will be actually pretty good to go into this next round. As it's up. Nicely done. That was
How we doing, fellas?
That was our in-game monitor brought a little bit closer so that we could see what's going on.
Slight technical issues, apparently. So we're back. But yeah, interesting start to the match has to be said. Obviously, that first weapon round, Rubino just going ham, obviously 4K. You can't really do that. You can't just walk out of a ramp with 50 seconds on the clock, 55 on the clock. You've not really done anything on any part of the map. We're back, by the way. But still, you can't really do that kind of stuff. Rubino just punishing it. But then on the following round, when they did create a distraction, they managed to trade a kill in middle. Well, then it's a viable option. Then you can time it correctly. Obviously, a bit of luck is always included in that kind of situation. This time around, Orbit had it. And that's going to be the 4th round on the board for them.
Yeah, Orbit, I mean, they went 1 for 1 out in middle. Kirby was also low from that exchange. And with just Punisher faking over in B, Dignitas really bit into that. They over-rotated quite hard. So Orbit taking away that rifle. But it was not enough to reset Dignitas. Again, 5 or 4 people alive in their first rifle round. Maybe all of them. And then they saved 3 guns coming into this one. So they're good to go. We get another rifle.
And this time around, Orbit is actually looking to go for some mid control, but very slowly again. They spent a minute of not really doing all too much before Spider being the first guy getting a frag on Atensky. A retaliation coming from Dignitas through connector. MSL is going to get a kill on to Victor. Rubino, you're going to be ready for this. You're not. Bubble, as the smoke is going to go off, it's going to get that kill on to Rubino to make it a 4-on-3.
Yeah, those battles when the smoke starts to dissipate are always so awkward. It just comes down to who can notice whichever one first.
Yeah, it's awkward.
It's always so awkward. I mean, I'm sure they both were expecting them to be where they were, but Orbit notices it first, and that's Rubino going down. Rubino's also been so aggressive onto the porch and into Palace on every single round. Maybe it's becoming a little bit readable from Orbit, as here's Kirby. He gets Bubble. That is a man advantage for Dignitas, but they still have a task ahead of them. They have to retake. They've got kits. Kirby has just scooped up a flash. He has an incendiary to use as well. Punisher playing at bench. He'll peek out and spray down Config, staying alive. Spots one a cat, getting some information, and they hear the bullets coming from the market. And actually, MSL jumping out. He can't fight back against Punisher. The trade comes out. Kirby with the nade. And now tapping the bomb again. He has that kit, but the peak, it will not be baited out. Now it finally comes. He's playing the clock. That's NKL winning the 1v1 there.
Interesting, 2-on-3 there. Punisher, they were playing 2 individual, well, 1-on-3s basically. Punisher with solo HP as well, managing to do as much damage as it did. It's just, well, I don't think that's supposed to be happening, to be honest. Seemed like Dignitas were a little bit disconnected. They were not attacking together. They were taking too much individually, going to the bomb side, and NKL clutching out that 1-on-1. With the last remaining Dignitas player really didn't have an idea of what's going on, but Victor, that's going to be a 1-tap. Not sure if they know him from those.
Yeah, this is just one player that we know for 1-taps, you know? As he certainly did deliver, that being Scream. So MSL's gone down. He was either in the window or trying to jump out to get to underpass. He's been executed by Victor. And a man advantage for Orbit. Spine Leader also with that MAC-10, looking to make these pesky pistols pay.
Yeah. And Orbit thinks very slowly still. Plenty of time on the clock. Don't really need to commit to anything. Bomb is just dropped down up in middle. Victor gotta get a kill on Tatensky to make it a 5-on-3. So 1 by 1. Dignitas going down. Spy Leader now going on a mission here in the B, but he's gonna be under a crossfire. Kierbu, the CZ is gonna get that kill.
Yeah, that's always such a difficult mission. They want to put that one submachine gun in there, just kind of sniff out a stack that might be on B, but jumping out, that's so difficult. So often we see that one player just go down.
And that's like that was enough because they knew there's 3 players remaining, and Spy Leader saw 2 of those 3. So that's just initiated the push towards the A side because you know there's going to be max 1 player on that side.
Yeah, and they know Config doesn't really want to save this MAC-10, so Orbit fully expecting this retake potential. Actually jumping up onto Firebox. Config getting that one. Punisher trying to fight over the other side. Spotting one through the smoke onto stairs. What a shot from Punisher. And surprisingly, right, it's Punisher that we talked about maybe being the weak link of this team, but he's been playing so well going into some of the big rounds here in this match. Both rifles have really come down to Punisher making big individual plays.
There we go. We can see this again here. Punisher getting that kill on the Config. And then on towards the stairs, trying to do a bit of jumping damage as well. With the AK-47, that's not going to work out too well, is it? We're back. Slight technical issues, I think. But great start from Orbit. Has to be said. It's, what, 6-1 right now? And the money situation is not too pretty for Dignitas. Like we can see, well, they do have an AWP, but no head armors, just one kit. No Molotovs to play with whatsoever, so it's been a great start for Orbit.
So second time we're seeing MSL with the op. He wasn't really required to do anything the first time because Rubino got a 4K. Mainly because, I mean, he showed up to hit his shots, of course, but Orbit just sort of turned their brains off on their walkout A strategy. I don't know what was going on there. That's the one round they have dropped. And there is this kind of a lack of utility here on Dignitas, starting to use some of their smokes and flashes. That's a flash over into mid so that MSL can post up on the angle and connector. He's spotting some elbows, and the shot's baited out. He's forced to fall back. Tensky playing up on those cinder blocks inside of the window, bit of an off angle.
Now you can see there's no one on catwalk from Dignitas right now. It's just lone player on that B bomb site being config, and you have 2 in connector and 1 in window. So it's going to be heavy emphasis put on towards middle and for fast rotation to A. But as I say that, Spy Leader is going to be the distraction just walking out of A slope right now. I think he's got Bubble there as well in Palace. They're just trying to make some noise. Oh, Spy Leader's being spotted by Rubino. It's going to be in sandwich, and Bubble somehow gets the kill. But Kirby with the monster flying through underground, going to get that 3K. And the bomb is down as well. And that worked out. It's, well, we are Matrix apparently.
Bit of a replay there, but yeah, Kirby, take another look at that because that's the significant play right there. You mentioned no one was on catwalk, but Kirby decides to go underneath and he flanks that bomb because the fake on A was actually very successful. As Bubble got the kills there. So again, Kirby stepping up. 3 to survive for Dignitas, and they find their second round.
Seems like it's definitely a choice from Orbit not to go for the fights in middle. They just totally disregard of middle right now. They're waiting up there for any potential pushes, and then afterwards they're just going to be happy to try and execute on a site. They'll be happy to trade a 4-on-4 situation and then just go on a site. That's been the name of the game. They don't even like to go to connector or catwalk.
Let's see, Punisher's actually got some pace. He's going. Oh, he will see the smoke, and that will likely slow things down here for Orbit. He'll take some A damage. Rubino, once more playing there at CT, the man in connector. So that's the A defense here for Dignitas. NKL maybe going to be in charge. Oh no, look how far they've already got out. They've dropped out of Palace already. And Bubble coming through, jumping up with the AK, takes down Kirby. You can't defend yourself against that. And Victor, meanwhile, he's got the trade out onto Rubino. Here comes MSL chiming in with his op to find that first frag. It's a retake 3-on-2, but there is a man on the flank.
Exactly.
That's NKL.
That's the problem, right? Victor is solo on HP on the side, and NKL is now known, and Tensky gets the kill, leaving Victor alone. 38 HP, gets 1 though. Making it 1-on-2. Tensky low on HP too, so it's still possible if you can get the kill on the config, but not gonna happen. Config gets the kill, and the bomb gets defused, but that's gonna be a costly round for Dignitas as well. I'll pretty much have to rebuy everything. On the other hand, I think Orbit still should be solid for another buy.
Yeah, Orbit have had rifles basically since round 2, and they have not been put off of that, and they still won't be. Punisher's a little poor at 2.8, but there's more than enough money to stay dangerous on the side of Orbit.
Exactly. As we know, they don't really care about the economy. They'll buy when they feel like it. And right now, that looks like a great buy from an Orbit point of view. They have 4 AKs, 1 Tech 9, and all the utility you'd want to have. And they go straight up towards those positions to throw set smokes for the A site, usually trying to isolate the connector and the city spawn from the bomb site. And right now, as we can see, there's only going to be a Rubino on the site. Well, as I say, that Kirby does come out 2 stairs, but he might be smoked off from that position.
And so far, Rubino actually has had a difficult time holding on to A. He's been either one or done from that CT spawn position on a lot of their force-up rounds. He was aggressive on Palace and was completely shut down. But here comes that execute, just wall of smokes across the site and a Molotov to CT. That's where they'll want to challenge. But meanwhile, Kirby from stairs and Rubino with flames. He brings down Punisher, now out to the A4. He's found a kill onto NKL, who I believe might have been carrying the bomb. That's down on the site. And now it's just up to Bubble and Spy Leader. Bubble a little late out of Palace, but Spy Leader does get one from A ramp before going down. It's Config to deal the killing blow there, and Bubble can get nothing done. Kirby eliminates him.
Yeah, that was the traditional hiding smokes, we used to call them. You try to isolate the bomb site from connector, and then the usual mission is to try and go towards the stairs, just trying to jump above or over sandwich, and then you pop flash towards connector, try to get the kills on that part of the map first. But instead, I tried to go for the plant right away, and the defense by Kirby and Rubino handily taking care of that. And that means that Orbit's economy is finally going to be broken, and Dignitas showing in a bit of a sign of life. They're coming back to a 4-6 situation. Kierbu and MSL are going to take care of this attack on their own. It'll be all 5 down in just a matter of seconds.
Yeah, Kirby grabbing a quick 3. MSL with the op from window. He gets 2 in orbit. Try to take some middle control with pistols, and it just falls completely on its face. Now, they're probably not too upset about that, and they're happy to be back onto the rifles right now. So another full buy coming in for them in Dignitas. There were a couple close rounds. Round 10 was actually so important because they were in danger of getting reset on that CT side, but now Dignitas have got to the point where they can lose and still support a rifle round.
Right now, again, with the Orbit doing very similar stuff we've seen for the majority of the rounds, to be honest. A couple of guys just hanging around just before the middle area, trying to wait for any potential pushes. We have one in Palace, one just holding off. Is any potential push from A slope? MSL, he's playing with the idea of pushing Palace, but if he did, I think that could be trouble for him, considering Bubble's positioning right now. But MSL decides to do the more conservative approach. He's going to smoke off Palace and fall back.
Let's see, who's going to have the success? We've seen Bubble do great things out of Palace working onto A. We've also seen Punisher sell fakes onto B. So quite the salesman here, and he's trying to do it again. He's the one man over on that side of the map, now deciding to pull back, and Orbit going for some kind of late mid-round top mid control. Look at these smokes. Yeah, both, arguably both of those missed. They will have to throw one more to try to cover up that window.
Yeah, well, that doesn't look pretty. Like I said, their executes are not always the most precise, pretty. MSL, though, is going to get that pick from top of the ticket right now. Rubino connecting as well. Let's go with the first 2 guys from Orbit going down. Punisher is going to try to get out of this A slope, but totally blinded. Kierbu on the flank as well. MKL is going to try to make this into a winnable situation. Well, the low HP on Orbit, though, that's going to be a bit of an issue for them.
And that was Kirby who was smoked off in the window, so I believe he just jumps out and then flanks these players coming up connector, and it's Punisher, the man that was trying to sell the fake onto B, the last alive, as he trickles into A. Kirby finding, what was that for Kirby, 3K?
I think so, yeah. Coming through connector. And now it's all of a sudden a 6-6. We were sitting at, what, 1-6 at one point, weren't we?
Yeah, so this is quite the comeback. 5 rounds in a row now for Dignitas.
This is an important map for Dignitas, obviously, because as we know, Orbit is really capable on Clash. We've seen these teams play one another a couple of months ago where Orbit beat Dignitas 16-6 on Clash. So, well, if you're a Dignitas fan, then this scoreline right now is going to make you a lot more happier than 1-6.
Yeah, and they're starting to shut down that T side of Orbit, which can be the scarier side. Spy Leader on this round, though, he's already hopped into Sandwich. Oh, Rabito will deal with that one quickly. He spotted one more action. Kirby takes down Victor, who was at A ramp. Punisher getting something done for Orbit as Tensky finds NKL, and it's Kirby on the stairs hopping over and will deal. Oh, it's MSL taking that one and that one. Kirby's like, I want all these kills.
Exactly. What that's not being a gentleman for sure, MSL. Quite the opposite. It's just weird to watch, by the way, when Kirby is spraying, the way he's just swirling his mouse to try to battle the recoil. Well, it's been his style. Very different from majority of the players. Now Orbit, well, they decide to go for the Tech 9s. They have a CZ in the play as well, and a bunch of nades, and seemingly they have sent 4 right now towards the B bomb side, looking for the right time to do a B execute on Tensky. Well, this could be genius, or this could be problematic. He does get the first one. He's got a teammate over there too, so it works out that Molotov is obviously going to be slowing things down. And even the smoke comes in, so that kind of kills the plan for Orbit.
Yeah, I was worried there was going to be a gap in the smoke because the Molotov kind of put it out, and there is, but it's Dignitas who exploit it. Spy Leader tries to peer through, and Config not going to let it happen. Rubino finds one elsewhere onto Punisher, and this aggressive play from Tensky and Config into these B apartments has been fantastic, shutting down anything Orbit could do here on this force-up round. Config will have to pull out the Deagle, and MSL says, get out of the way. He kills Config, and the bullet going through Config will kill Bubble.
Wow, MSL, come on. You can't hate your teammates that much. Stealing frags, team killing, and stealing frags.
Yeah, I feel like this is Dota. I'd just be calling out MSL for a kill stealer right now.
Oh.
Kirby could be on like 22 kills.
And Config whipping out the Scar 20. Why not? It's the last round. And it is a bit of a pickle to play against. This time around, Orbit's showing a little bit more aggressiveness towards that middle. Molotov in connector right away, going behind those boxes up in middle. You have 1 player in underpass and 2 towards the one Palace and 1 A slope. MSL is going to be once again here in A Palace waiting for a push.
Oh, Kirby, I think he did spot one there at the top of middle. He definitely hears that. Spyleader finding the first kill of the round on Zatensky. Kirby gets out for the trade, but there's Punisher with a quick response from Orbit, so it's 4-3 right now. Bubble still trapped up here in Palace as the bomb is making its way back over to A. There are 2 defenders there, so the more heavily defended site.
Yep, the situation definitely, though, 4-3 always favors T-side. Bubble is going to get one of those defenders on the A side before MSL gets onto Bubble. And now here comes Config's auto sniper before Victor comes to play. Now, only Config left, and the Scar 20 is going to do work. But he's only got 12 HP, NKL, 100 HP, and a lot of grenades to work with. So the situation definitely favors him.
Yeah, I think he knows that NKL is healthy, so he doesn't want to take that auto sniper. He's looking for the one tap here with the AK. That's what he will have to focus on. He's got no idea where NKL is right now. He's trying to clear out everything. We know, of course, that he's gone over to CT to hold out. Nade coming in, and Config on just 12 HP. He will tap the bomb, and he gets the peek, hits a shot, but it's not a headshot, so NKL will win it in Orbit. They were silenced for a long time, but they do get that last round of the first half.
Exactly. I mean, from a Dignitas point of view, you have to say that was a very successful half. 1-6 down to 8-7 win on the first half. Obviously, you got to be super happy. Well, 8-7 scoreline that you can work with on the CT side as well, but then on the T side, 7 after winning so many rounds to start off with, you're like, should have had more.
Yeah, and I think maybe Orbit just got a little bit readable, right? It was Punisher that was having a lot of success at B, selling some fakes and also just opening it up when they went there. And it was Bubble from A Palace that was winning against Rubino really early on. But it seemed like everything shifted when we had Kirby do the underpass flank, get the 3K. I think that's what started the winning streak there from Dignitas.
Yeah, and I would have wanted to see just more set plays from Orbit, but it just seemed they're really flawed right now. It just doesn't seem like their coordination is too good.
Yeah, what did we see from him? We saw botch smokes out in middle, and then we saw the smoke wall across the site in A.
Yeah, and it didn't look pretty at all. Because if you do those smokes, you want to push connector. That's the area you want to put your focus into. Have a couple of precise flashes, just plow in there, try to get Kirbu and MSL who are playing around that area. But obviously it didn't work out too well for Orbit this time around. They still got 7 rounds, so it's still something they can work with.
Yeah, it's not bad. A lot will, of course, come down to the pistol in the second half. And if Orbit, I mean, they won the pistol right away. That's also something worth noting, right? They got a quick 3-0 start. So all in all, it was about 4 rifle rounds that Orbit were able to convert. So that is actually still pretty good going up against Dignitas on Mirage.
Yeah, I mean, you know, but still, again, they lost the first weapon round. They win the one after, where you could have 1-4 or 4-1.
Yeah, they actually did have a lot of rounds that were up against the ecoing.
Yeah, so in that situation, you definitely want to have more than that.
All right. So again, Kirby, once he got that 3K, he started getting a ton of multi-kills. Would have had some more. I think he had a 20 bomb in the first half there, even though MSL was actively, seemed like he was trying to deny that.
Yeah, and also what really is weird, considering that there's no real opper on Dignitas. I'm not really sure. Should they just steer away from opping altogether? Just play rifles, really, because the thing is, when you don't play with the AWP consistently, you'll have these streaks when you're just hitting everything and you're looking godlikely. But then, when you don't, you're just going to be missing everything, and that's going to be a problem for your team. So I'm not really sure if they should even be picking up the op all too much. But we are back into it now. This time around, obviously, Orbit's going to be on that CT side, and let's look at Dignitas' buy. It's different. They have 3 sets of nades. We don't see this too often. Usually it's just 2 players with nades, but this time it's 3. We'll see what they have here in store. They are smoking off the stairs and jungle. As they just spawn, NKL is going to open things up, get the first one. He's going to be on top of this balcony. Bubble, he's the one to chime in, and now it becomes a 3-on-2.
Wow. So NKL starts it off with the first kill. He takes down Rubino. He was in an important position coming out of Palace, but the bomb, because of these smokes that have gone down, it's still planted. The retake for Orbit is successful. Bubble finding 3, and Victor with the last kill of the round and the defuse.
Yeah, the problem really becomes is that after you've thrown off the smokes, becomes an after plant when you don't have the armor and clock. It is just hard to battle with the aim punch come into play as well. And then NKL, like you said, getting the first one, and then Bubble chiming in, makes it a 3-on-2 very quickly. That's going to be a bomb plan for Dignitas, but that's going to be the second pistol round as well, going the way of Orbit. So if you run the numbers, that more often than not means that you win the map.
Yeah. Well, that being said, Dignitas did get the bomb down, and they don't put money into this round. So that will be less of an advantage straight away into the second half, because Dignitas in round 3 will be pulling out AKs and will more than likely have the advantage over Orbit, who will have FAMAS and UMPs, I'm sure, still in their arsenal. Speaking of the umps, it's Spy Leader looking out to underpass, and he'll find them walking up. A lot of damage done to Rubino. The nade should finish him off. Actually, Punisher gets in there first, then Spy Leader to bring down MSL. And it is Bubble, who did actually die on the side of Orbit.
And Spider also is going to go down by Tensky. So this is getting a lot more costly than it was supposed to for Orbit right now. And you can see Dignitas is slowing things down. They've gone catwalk. There's one CT over there and one in window. So it might be potential for getting sandwiched. But Victor is not going to be connecting with his shots. He's finally going to pick up that M4. And I think Punisher probably just spotted the tourist getting up on the connector. Which is Tensky, the last one remaining. That falls off in the end.
Yeah, and if Tensky can just get one more kill, it's actually going to be so devastating to Orbit. Going to have to rebuy onto possibly 3 players. So Tensky just sitting and hoping someone's going to walk by and that he can get a frag. That's really all he's attempting to do right now.
Yeah, I think he heard one. He's trying, just like you said, just try to wait for a possibility. As much money as he can waste from the CTs, the better right now. Still got 63 HP. He's going to get his chance. He's going to get that kill on the Victor as well. So very costly right now for Orbit. Perfectly done from Dignitas. And that gives them a possibility of breaking the economy of Orbit. But Tensky is not over yet. He's coming in. He's got the bomb. But NKL in prime position right now to stop this. But Tensky, he's going to run out of bullets. Only 2 on this UMP, but he's going to get a nice headshot before Punisher comes in and saves the day for Orbit. But that was super costly for Orbit. Was never supposed to be that close in any world, any universe.
Yeah. So if you're new to Counter-Strike, you're like, oh, Tensky, he died. That's not a big deal. But those kills were massive. Those are actually impact frags. And Tensky was making me pretty worried. He ran in with 3 bullets in his P250 and 2 in his UMP, and he just charges into CT. Somehow he gets that last headshot. And now you can see Dignitas limited on utility, but they have AKs, which is a bit of an advantage up against this FAMAS and the P90 that we see.
Exactly kind of approach you have to have when you have limited equipment right now. That push, not going to have too much coming out of it, but at least some damage is being dealt. Spy Leader, though, it's gone down to 31 HP just as well. And here comes the A push from Dignitas from that A slope. Bubble's going to be opening things up, but it's going to be Trace going the way of Orbit in the end. NKL going to go down by config. Comes to 2-on-3 situation. Things slow down, but the problem right now is that the bomb is in sandwich, and Kierbu, he is in an interesting position in jungle. Not really sure where Orbit could be of this. He might be getting a freebie here. He does on the Punisher, and that's going to equalize the situation.
Yeah, so the young stars of Team Dignitas left alive here in what was a 2 versus 3, and they've turned it into a 2-on-1. It's just Victor, and he has taken some fire damage. I don't think anyone was close enough to hear it. So he's still going to be relatively unknown, but they know enough. Like, they know Victor's at A, so they just shifted and they run straight over to B.
Yep. Obviously the perfect call right now. Victor is going to be gambling on just staying on this A bomb site right now with 40 on the clock. It is a tough call for you to make, really, and it's going to be a tough retake. And like we said, money is definitely not in a good situation from Orbit. Considering what happened in the previous round, Victor doesn't have anything else except for Diffuse Kit. At least he got that going for him, but no nades.
Yeah, he'll check underpass, and I wonder at this point if he will even continue to go for it. Yeah, he is going to back off. Doesn't go up the catwalk, so he'll be looking to save, and I imagine Orbit's money is not doing very well.
No, definitely. I mean, they're going to be just totally broke right now, as we can see. Well, Punisher's going to have a bit of bank. Spy Leader, some, but for the 3 of them, Victory, Bubble, and KL, they're going to be pretty much broke. So if you Orbit, you're probably going to force buy into this because Punisher didn't get a some kind of a rifle probably.
Yeah, that's the worry, right? Victor has saved the gun, so he's going to have an M4. Will they feel the added pressure to then put pistols and armor behind it? It's really, I mean, people are below $2,000. I don't even think Orbit will go for it, but I hear buying. I don't know what spawn. I don't know what spawn we're in though.
I wouldn't say that if I was you.
Oh God.
It's happening.
I'm not a fan.
Yeah, well, neither am I, but it's something to expect when you're looking at Orbit playing Counter-Strike. It always happens. There's a couple of things in life you can always trust. Rubino, though, he's going to get destroyed by NKL. So that's starting off well for Orbit's force buy. And that's exactly what you need to have when you do these kind of buys. You have to do some aggressive plays. That's going to mean one more rifle going to wave Orbit as well. Things have slowed down except for Dignitas. They're just already pushed through the catwalk on to B. Punisher is going to be the one to open things up before MSL manages to trade Tensky as well. That's going to be the B bomb side opened up. MSL is They get a kill on the NKL, and things just go worse for Orbit. MSL, well, he's got a bit of a scare there. Decides to fall back.
Yeah, I mean, he went in with his Glock out, so I guess he wasn't very confident that he could get that kill. So he backs off and stays alive, which is probably the smarter play. And now MSL going to continue to re-aggress. I don't know if he spotted Spy Leader, but the bomb is planted and Dignitas set up in the triangle of death. And they've both been spotted now. Spy Leader goes up on the green bin. Nice little Molotov bounce, actually, and Flash as well over into bench. But Kirby just hiding out is not too bothered by it. He finds the double there, and it's Dignitas with, it was actually a little scary at first, but
yeah,
they do claw it out.
It was MSL and Tensky that they got the important kills on the two guys in B. I think it was NKL and Punisher on that B bomb side. And that's when the tides turned in favor of Dignitas. They took over the bomb side, but like you said, initially it did look a little bit sketchy for Dignitas. And now it means that Orbit will have to be saving on this one. They've upgraded a couple pistols. They have a flash. They want to pop flash out to middle, but all they're going to be finding is MSL. All their resources are spent on trying to get a kill onto MSL. He goes down eventually, but then the rest of Dignitas just chiming up from A Slope and Palace.
Dang. And Kirby with his 25th kill in this round. He's been playing exceptionally well. He is far above the pack, actually, on both teams. So he is that top frag in the server. Dignitas with 11 rounds, 2 over Orbit, who are at 9, but do find themselves on another rifle. Enough nades. No Molotovs may hurt a little bit, and also no kit. So Orbit are going to have to make sure that they can hold on to the sites. Exactly,
and it's always going to be that much harder when you don't have the Molotovs to play with. And right now, Dignitas going for a straight-up play. MSL still can just smoke off connector. No, actually, towards jungle. Is that smoke, and the rest of his teammates are in A Slope and Palace. They've gone up. Tensy's getting the first kill. Rubino's gone down on HP, but MSL come also connecting. And now the situation is definitely favoring Dignitas. Eventually, though, oh, it's going to be Bubble coming in. Now, with Rubino being so unhealthy with 6 HP, the situation could be favoring the CTs.
All right, hiding behind the default box right now. This may be unexpected. Yeah, Bubble not checking this at all, and that's Kirby peeking out. Now he can just stay alive, bait this other player in, that's Victor, or not. Kirby just going to keep going for it. He's having quite the game. Oh, actually, I realized Rubino, he was on 6 HP, so maybe Kirby felt he needed to get it done himself.
Yeah, pretty much had to, right?
Yeah.
Rubino's HP was so low, and that's going to break economy for Orbit once again. Dignitas is just dictating the place right now. And again, a fast push on that A side, working out great for them. Smoking off jungle and not really doing much at all except for that, and then just running out of Palace at A Slope. Right now, CD on armors with Spy Leader, but problem for him is the fact that there's a lot of Dignitas players looming his way, and Orbit has 3 players stacked on the B bomb side.
And the CZ that Spy Leader has can certainly be dangerous from that position, but the Molotov is going to come down, and that's going to force Spy Leader out of his hiding place. Bubble as well. Molotov just sandwiched, so that's Dignitas showing us how it's done with utility.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to see from Orbit as well. Those are the small details that make a huge difference and not open up the bomb side. Those 2 players playing the bomb side going down easily. Just 1 castle is so far for Dignitas, but as I say that, Orbit manages to make it 3. It becomes a one-on-one all of a sudden. Well, looked pretty initially. It's quite ugly by now, but NKL still got a lot of work to do. Now he knows where Config is. Problem is, though, that Config still with a couple of grenades is going to be Molotoving no man's land, really. And Flash again. NKL with no defuse, just going to have to go for it, but Config comes up and wins it in the end. NKL with no armor, obviously going to be hard with the aim punch coming in. And that's going to be Dignitas with their 13th round on the board.
Yeah, I mean, the only option for NKL was to hit a 1-tap as he's peeking out, which is going to be insanely difficult. But in that situation, nothing to really do but go for it. And that was kind of chaotic, right? Dignitas got the bomb down, but they seemed unable to fall back to post plants. Orbit were just so quick to swarm in with those pistols. Turn it into a one-on-one.
Yeah, it looked so good initially. They used the Molotovs correctly, got the 2 entries on the site. And then things just got a little bit hairy there, but another round going in. Now this time around, Orbit obviously has been able to buy. Dignitas going for the mid control, going for the B split actually. They're already 3 up on Catwalk right now. 2 in B apps, and Punisher is going to be the 1 on the hot seat, going down by Config. And Rubino getting 1 onto Victor, and that's going to be the whole B defense destroyed right now. And Orbit already blown out of the round. Oh, and a bit of team damage there. Tensky and Kirby both now very low on HP, but obviously Orbit doesn't know that. And they decided to try and save the weapons.
Yeah, that's tough for Punisher. He's like, how is Kirby not dead? He saw him first. If you got that first kill, it could have been a very different situation over there on the catwalk, but then he gets flashed, and that was great. Again, nice nades from Dignitas to clear those corners. Gets them into the B site quite easily, and now they're just holding on. Orbit, that is. Spider actually up on ticket booth will find Kirby. And actually, Dignitas, I don't know. I don't think their money's all that great either, right? They just won the last round with only one person alive, so even as terrorists, oh, actually, yeah, they could go for some more kills, but they're not seeming to want to do it anyways.
True. Dignitas managing to pick up the pace on all these crucial rounds, and that's Orbit having a lot of trouble trying to fend off those attacks. Dignitas looking at map point very shortly if Orbit doesn't find the answer, but they're going to be able to buy everything they need. They saved that AWP from the previous rounds. They have all the utility right now. 3 defuse kits, and Dignitas just going to keep applying the pressure towards middle. Molotoving off connector, and they've gone behind those boxes in mid, probably looking to smoke off window and then take over connector, but it's right now occupied by a couple Orbi members, and Bubble's going to get a smoke on top of his head. Spy Leader, though, is getting in prime position right now. Those players are not committing to it, though. Oh, there we go. Spy Leader eventually gets to use it. Punisher still in the same angle as previous round. Now, if there's a pop flash coming in, things could get hairy for him.
Yeah, so Bubble was supposed to bait the people up into connector for Spy Leader, but that gets shut down because of the smoke. Spy Leader still finds his kill. So that's Kirby going down, maybe regretting having not checked that corner first, or maybe not even checked it at all. MSL and Configure here in the ladder room. So those are pretty powerful spots. They'll once again have to deal with Punisher. Let's see if the flash is coming out. Looks like MSL was cycling through some nades, and that's a Molotov from the looks of it. As Bubble, meanwhile, has brought down Config. So with that Molotov going there, it seems like they want to go A, and it's Bubble once more from the window, taking a quick shot, and he's feeling aggressive. He's going to peek out for one more. He knows that this player's got into the connector, so he's given Spy Leader the information, but from elsewhere, Rubino, he brings down Spy Leader. Now it's fallen onto Bubble. Nice shot to get Rubino, and MSL on just 4 HP here, 1 versus 3. He's got the bomb in 30 seconds.
Quite a sketchy round from Dignitas, if I'm totally honest with you. They took a lot of control in the middle. They got all the way to the catwalk and towards B, and that's when nothing really happened afterwards. They looked like they were going to be going for a catwalk push once again, but instead they wasted over a minute just hanging around, not doing anything really. They decided to go through connector, and just a lack of coordination, making it way too easy for Orbit to pick them up or pick them apart one by one.
Yeah, once they lost Kirby in connector, it seems like they were a little lost and just couldn't make a decision on exactly what they wanted to do. Thought the guys in ladder were going to maybe work up the catwalk, expect Punisher in the same place perhaps, but no, instead Bubble just went to work with the op, which was massive, right? Bubble's going to be the one that needs to step up with that weapon here if Orbit want to get back into this map number 1, that is Mirage.
Again, fast mid from Dignitas. Spy Leader, though, being the one opening things up in Honor Pass, I think, towards B apps. And again, that's going to be a problem. MSL, though, he's already gone up through B catwalk. He's going to get a kill on the Victor, but decides to fall back to ladder. Make things a little bit more conservative. Kirby once again, though, it's going to be in B apps. The bomb has made its way there. So that might indicate a big push coming in.
Yeah, so making some noise. Spy Leader's probably heard this and may have just spotted them jumping. And now certainly hears them as the smokes and flashes are coming out. You can see a man there on catwalk ready to bring him down as across the windows. That's Punisher. But it's not happening. Dignitas pulling an audible bomb going the other way, trickling back through spawn.
Yeah, so it's MSL's job right now to try to sell this fake afterwards on catwalk. Or maybe he's making his way through ladder into window. He's going to be throwing a Molotov once again the catwalk. Just making a bit of noise, making sure that they know there's someone from Dignitas within that area of the map, and it definitely works. There's 3 Orbit players towards the B bomb site right now, and as we know, the bomb is making its way towards A. So, definitely working so far.
Yeah, I don't know if MSL threw that Molotov a little early. It seems like he'd want to throw that Molotov so that he can then run off Cat and go up connector. But instead, he's actually gone down. So it's Dignitas now trying to execute a man down, and the rotations from Orbit are coming over. NKL, very lucky that fire's not spreading over to the ticket booth. Here's Punisher with 1. Config finds 1 entry, and now it's Bubble with the op standing up and bringing down Kirby. Config gets revenge, but on 15 HP and with 10 seconds, he cannot get it done. And NKL, who was hiding out in that in the flames for so long, gets the last kill of the round.
Yeah, Team Dignitas looked so decisive earlier on what they were doing. All of a sudden, it seems like they're not 100% sure on what to do when things slow down, once they've actually gained map control, and when the first battles have been taken, when it's like a 4-on-4 situation. It seems like they're a little bit clueless of how to execute, how to get to a bomb site, and Orbit is saying thank you. Everything looked pretty good there on that one as well, but a little bit too slow for Dignitas this time around though. Nothing slow about it. It's going to be full-on B push, but Punisher is going to be the one to open things up. Rubino to retaliate, and also MSL is going to take down Punisher. So this might be working out great for Team Dignitas. They get the bomb down as well, and they've gained a lot of control, but Spy Leader, he's made his way through a window like a spy himself.
Yeah, definitely. Running out of players to lead, though, as just Bubble and NKL are here now. Just Bubble, 1 versus 2 with the 5-7 he's actually working through. Does have an op and a little bit of utility, but can he find the time to use it? Smoke goes down on the bomb, actually from the terrorist, and I think that's just to allow Config to switch spots, and he'll peek out real fast with the P250. And wow, I think this is, I was a little worried when they were just straight running into B, because so often, you know, Molotovs and nades are just going to shut it down. We see so many ace clips from there, right?
Yeah.
From the CT perspective, but the flashes were really effective and actually made that Molotov miss. So they were able to jump out the window quite easily.
Yeah, well, just Punisher, the only one getting a frag as the rush came in, and both B players were mowed down by the Tech-9s, and that's classic B rush with Tech-9s working out in the favor of Dignitas. They tried to keep things complicated previously. Now, when it's just a simple B rush, it works out. And well, now the map point for Dignitas, and they're looking to do another push on the A site, and here it comes.
So MSL out in middle once more. He's the lone one there. NKL playing close. Config's going to take him down, and MSL again from middle. He finds one nearly a second. Kirby gets in there on the kill. MSL assisting, of course, up to Punisher and Victor right now. FAMAS and 5-7 trying to retake. And Dignitas, of course, on map number 1 point.
Yeah.
Mirage.
Punisher and Victor being the last two, and well, make it just Victor right now. He's gonna go down too. It's gonna be 16-11 Dignitas. I guess, you know, in the end it went the way that we were expecting. Obviously not as easy for Dignitas. Orbit made it a fight out of it. First half 7 rounds on T side.
Yeah.
Winning the pistol round, and then winning the second weapon round. So being 4-1 up, obviously it's in the end not the best of first halves, but then on that T side, Dignitas just dictating place for the most part.
Yeah.
Rush B with Tech-9s, in the end making it to the map point, and then an A push to end it all.
Yeah, so like you said, Dignitas were looking really good initially on that T side, and then they kind of started to go to a halt near the end, and it's, of course, right? You're playing Orbit, you might as well get to match point on a Force by Tech-9 rush. It seems somewhat fitting. That's what they do to get into B, and then they were very dominant on the next round because Orbit's money was also in a rough place. They just storm out to A. MSL was effective once again in middle, and that is the map.
Yeah, and we're going to be going to Cash, obviously, next up, and that's the map we know Orbit is really capable on. These teams, like we said previously, have met one another on Cash previously at Copenhagen Games a couple months ago, and that was Orbit taking it 16-6. So, well, I think it's still not over yet by a long mile.
Yeah, so stay tuned, guys. Winner of this, of course, is the first team that's going to go into the major offline qualifier for ESL Cologne, and we're going to get back to the action after a quick commercial break. Stay tuned.
Nothing could ever ruin what we have here. Me and you shooting our love from here. Sunrise unfolds, descending our toes, ready to wash in the waves. When the sunrise leaves, we're still in the sea, still gotta obey. Take shelter in the water, air into our lungs. Listen to the sound of the ocean below. Close our eyes, start daydreaming, fall asleep in the sea. Nothing could ever ruin what we have here. All I need is in front of me, you, my dear. With you, my dear. Sunrise unfolds, descending our toes, ready to wash in the waves. When the sunrise leaves, we're still in the sea, still got away. Take shelter in the water, air into our lungs. Listen to the sound of the ocean below. Close our eyes, start daydreaming, fall asleep in the sea.
Dignitas winning their pick of Mirage. As you can see, Rubino spraying them all down, making it look easy here, but overall, it was not that easy for Dignitas on map 1.
Definitely wasn't, but at the same time, you got to remember Orbit managing to take pulse pistol rounds and still losing rather convincingly. 16-11 scoreline when you win pulse pistol rounds. It's not super pretty.
Yeah, and now we are moving on to Cash, a map that I don't think Dignitas has even played yet at this tournament. And for what we saw from Orbit, it was one of the more dominant ones with the 16-10 victory over the Hellraisers.
And also they've met one another, like I said, in Copenhagen Games a couple months back, 16-6 win for Orbit, back then EFrag. So we could be looking at a 3-mapper here, but don't count Dignitas out on Cash. They have some really formidable mid takes, so let's see how EFrag handles those. So what kind of an approach they have for that mid hold. As we know, CT side of Cash is a lot about, it's like a game of chess basically. You want to choose which area of the map you want to be controlling. Is it going to be the bomb side? Is it going to be middle? And try to leave that A side open because it's really, really takeable on that CT side as long as you have a lot of utility.
Yeah, we've had a lot of talk about the utility and the nade usage of Orbit, and it's a little lacking, of course, but we did see some more of it from them when they were playing Cash. I mean, at least for the mid control, it's not that hard to throw down that smoke to the connector. They were making sure to Molotov the sandbags out as well.
Yeah, well, my problem really is when they do their A takes, they don't really Molotov all the usual spots, and you know, when you're CT side, a lot of such are good at utilizing that momentum. If they get that they're not getting flushed out of the corners, and could be problematic. It's going to be up to Victor once again, just going mad, getting a lot of entry kills, but we'll see how it pans out.
Yeah, and I mean, I expect Victor will continue to frag out, but now the pressure is mounting, right? They are facing elimination at this point, and they are just one win away from getting into the finals, which also means they get into the major offline qualifier. As we have 2 teams coming through this, it is a matter of pride, money, and seeding when we get to the finals.
Yeah, it's a lot at stake, has to be said. Even if it's a qualifier inception we have going on here, it is for a major. It's one of the 3 super or main events of the year, you could say. But we are live here. Dignitas gets to start on the T side, and they have Kierby with a Tech 9. He has a smoke. Everyone else with armors. On the other side, you have, well, just armors on the CG side. They are trying to make sure no bomb plants coming in. The smoke has been thrown off to the B bomb side. There's literally no one from Orbit on the B bomb side, which is kind of weird. Now, this retake is going to be super tough without having any grenades to work with.
Yeah, that was kind of odd. We saw the A players on A. You know, you can't set up for an A retake with no utility, but instead Orbit do the same thing at B. The smoke goes down and blocks them off, and now here is Spy Leader with the first kill of the round. He's brought down MSL. That means 2 coming in through the vents, but this is known. And that 2 players actually hiding out back checker box? This is going to be some mind games right here, depending on how wide they peek in. And Config goes down. Yeah, Spy Leader, he's got no idea there's one more, and that's Tensky who brings him down. Spy Leader did actually find 2 frags, though, and now Tensky going to work by himself, finding some crazy headshots, but the bomb's already been defused here without a kit, mind you.
Exactly. That did not seem good for Orbit to start things off, but somehow they still managed to pull it off. Playing a passive B-bomb site without having any utility is quite questionable, but, well, I guess they proved me wrong. They managed to do it. I felt like MSL overextended in middle. Had he played a little bit more passive, more patient, just waiting for the CTs to go into event, he could have been a decisive factor in that round. But he goes down early on, and that's going to mean Orbit picking up that pistol round.
Yeah, that's all pistol rounds, right? 3 for 3 for Orbit so far in this series. And once again, not as many deagles this time. We saw Dignitas on their Mirage forced up go for a lot of deagles, but just the one here on Tensky. He wants to go over the boost with it and try to find a pick in middle, but it won't happen. Spy Leader denying that.
Yeah, it's going to be MSL now picking up that deagle in play, and Dignitas definitely taking a conservative approach. They got the bomb plant, obviously, so that means they will have the money to buy in the following round. Right now, it seems like it's going to be a little bit more cleaner for Orbit compared to what happened in the on Mirage, where Tensky managed to make it super costly. Well, MSL, I think he's trying to prove me wrong. He gets 1 kill before Spy Leader gets one onto MSL. It's only Config and Kierbu left as the last 2. Make that only Kierbu now.
Yeah, all alone. And what was he? He's just outside. Oh, no, he is in A main here on the reverse side of those lockers. Generally a good spot, but not when the bomb has not been planted. And he's got only a P250, no armor, trying to work his way in. The deagle recycled once more. Tensky had it initially. MSL picked it up, found a kill. And now it's on to Kirby. The hand-me-down deagle.
Yeah, it's like a prize going back and forth. Kierbu trying to lurk his way in, but it's probably not going to get much out of it. Nothing, in fact. Punisher gets the kill. And that's going to be a rather clean one for Orbit to make it 2-0. And now we see Dignitas already buying in. They're going to be AK-47s across the board. They have 4 smokes to play with. Plenty of flashes. So, well, the lack of Molotovs, obviously, is going to be a little bit of a problem, obviously, on this map. But still enables them to do a lot of things with these smokes.
Yeah, so Dignitas, they've lost their Terrace pistols, but they've got the bomb down on Mirage, and they got it down here on Cash. So the rifle comes out a little bit earlier, and MSL finding the first kill there. Bubble trades out, so still 4 on 4. And Victor will find 1 onto Config.
Yeah, nice job there. I think he got blinded a little bit there. That was actually Bubble, never mind. But still, the frags are going to wave Orbit, and they're just denying this mid to B take from Dignitas. It's not only going to be Kirby and Tensky alive here. Bubble playing the aggressor to Tensky getting that shot through the smoke, but right now, it's only going to be all on Tensky against 3 CTs, and the bomb is down also in middle, so it's going to be a tall ask for Tensky with just having a flashbang to work with too. Still got him HP, got plenty of time to work with, but needs to hit some crazy shots. I think he just spotted 1 CT there. but decides to fall back.
He's going to need some mistakes from Orbit as well if they'll peek out and just, allow him an opportunity here. And you can see on the white box just trying to keep the attention of Tensky because there is a flank coming in through mid-main. That's NKL, and you can see he's got the angle. They know that they have Tensky pinned in here under the CT side of Boost. And there it is. NKL shooting him in the back and Orbit out to a 3-0.
Yep, that's the problem when you don't have the Molotovs. You can't Molotov sandbags because that's one of the most usual spots for CTs to be at. I think Victor was there, and he got a couple of really important kills. So when you're trying to take a mid-take, I think you might want to sacrifice buying a couple of flashes, instead get a Molotov to be able to flush out the opponents. And that's going to be a quick 3-0 for Orbit there. And keeping it rather clean as well. And Dignitas is going to be in a state, but this time around they have 3 Deagles and 2 P250s.
Yeah, the losing bonus stacking up a bit more, so they go in for the big pistols, the Deagles. And look at this Molotov, that's going to cause a lot of problem. Rubino is so low, down to 9 HP. And all right, they've taken some checker control, and they'll boost down into the vents. Broken on both sides, and look at Config, that's perfect. Victor will get, MSL, he's got to get that kill. The distraction was perfect, but Victor finding 2, and then actually a 3rd there onto Kirby. And now Tensky alone in Orbit, surviving with 5 members.
Yeah, and that's going to be a lot of money in the bank right now for them. As we can see, Punisher sitting at 8K, well, now down to 7 after buying the grenades. But still, a buffer has been built by Orbit. Even if they would lose a round, they'd still have a lot of money. And now, as we can see, Dignitas with 4 Molotov, so that's going to help things no matter what they do. If they want to do a mid-take, they can Molotov all the positions, the vent, the sandbags, or if they want to do an A-push right away, they can Molotov all the corners of the site. Like right now, they're just doing a default, but Orbit's opting to do a lot of aggression here. Victor, the fast 2 kills once again. He's just being a monster here on Cash once again.
Yeah, so pressure not bothering Victor whatsoever, just doing what he's known for, flying out there into A-main, finding 2 quick kills. However, Dignitas clawing their way back into this one. They've gotten into a 3-on-3. They still have those Molotovs. Actually, utility for Orbit's become quite low. NKL playing on quad just passively, and he's going to go down. Tensky so quickly, just pulling the spin move pretty much from the looks of it.
And that's going to be the bomb side opened up right now. Kirby will overextending a little bit, in my opinion. Should have just fallen back. Bubble going to say thank you, get that kill, and make it a 2-on-2 right now. Spider in A main. Tensky's going to show himself he is. That's going to make it into a 1-on-2, but Rubino, he's really good at this situation. He's going to face off both of the CTs. Not going to be able to win that one. And Orbit with another round, one that seemed like Dignitas should have had in the back already, but I felt like Kirby, I think it was, who was overextending a little bit towards across the forklift. That cost him quite a bit in that round.
Yeah, and Rubino was actually spotted in Squeaky, and he was so close to the wall, right? So he doesn't have the angle. He can't see out, but as they're looking in, they were still able to see him. And here's Victor, who started it all off, actually looking at the second kill there onto MSL, and that was Dignitas' chance that last round. Well, maybe this one, just because the bonus is stacked up, to finally win a rifle round before things start to get a little worrisome.
Exactly. Now they only have one Molotov on Tensky. So let's see what they opt to go for. So far, it seems like another default round. Just 2 going into A main, 1 door, 1 holding mid garage, and 1 holding B. So they're waiting for that potential aggressiveness from Orbit to start things off, but as we can see from the minimap, Orbit taking it quite slowly. Just having 1 on the A site. 1 playing forklift, 1 in just the Z connector, just waiting for things to happen in middle. So both teams kind of just waiting on the opposing team to do things or take the initiative.
It seemed like Orbit even kind of missed that smoke into A main. I don't know if that was like...
Would that even surprise you now?
Not really. I'm starting to think maybe it's next level. Maybe they are missing them so that people try to peek and then they're like funneled in and you know where to aim. I don't know what's going on. But look at Victor. He gets flashed, so he just starts spraying down middle, and things are going Orbit's way. Yeah, MSL falls, headshot from that AK. And man advantage, of course, round advantage, 5-0 for Orbit.
I think it's been a theme so far in this half of Cash. That the first kill has gone the way of Orbit every single time. Now MSL, the in-game leader of Dignitas, going down here, but though it's going to be able to retaliate on the Spy Leader, who's playing a little bit too aggressive for my liking for a 5-on-4 situation. Now the situation favors the T side. Punisher going to be the back side. The push is coming in from Dignitas right now. Rubino, Caribou getting 2 big kills before Punisher manages to retaliate, but it's going to be Caribou with the 3K taking over that bomb side. Things just totally escalated quickly there. Seemed like Orbit had the opportunity to just hold off Dignitas once again, but I felt Spy Leader overextending in that A main opened things up for Dignitas to do the execute.
So So once again, it's Kirby who steps up big time to get Dignitas onto the scoreboard. He got a 3K entering onto the site, 4K overall in the round, Rubino with the other frag. So there it is. But Dignitas, they lost so many rounds that Orbit, of course, can get out to another full buy here. So it's not going to be easy for Dignitas to earn those free rounds.
Exactly. It's going to take a bit of work for them to break the economy from Orbit. Another slow round coming in from Dignitas, but look at the positioning from Orbit this time. They are heavily invested to middle. They are expecting a potential mid-take, but none of that is happening so far from the looks of things. Dignitas again to A main, one door, one just holding super passively in mid, and one is in towards B garage. But as I say that though, Conflict right now seems like he's going to be working his way towards middle. Here comes the mid-take. Victor is in prime position. He's not going to get Molotov, but instead just dismantled by Config. And that's the opening kill going the way of Dignitas.
And Bubble looks like he will get one. Yeah, he's now flying out, gets two onto Config. Even, I think, shooting the toes there of Kirby, who's hiding out in mid-main. And now Spy Leader just going to push through the wall of smoke that Dignitas laid down and find another kill. So Orbit 4 on 2. And I mean, Dignitas did everything right there in middle. They had the crisscross smokes and the Molotov to the vent.
But they missed. They didn't have the Molotov for obviously for sandbags. Config comes in, he gets the kill. So a bit of a risky play there. It looked really good for Dignitas, but then bubble happened.
Yep. Destroying the dreams, and now Tensky and Rubino, the last two up. See what they can't do. I mean, these are kind of the guys that you want in these situations. A 2v4 is a big ask, but these are the two guys you'd want to do it for Dignitas, and Tensky will start it off, that kill onto Bubble.
Yeah, 4-2 advantage. You don't want to play an aggressive position like Bubble was there. Now Punisher is going to be here out of position, meaning that the B bomb side has been lost to Tensky and Rubino, who get to plant the bomb. Obviously not the best of plants, but it's still something that they can work with. Tensky gonna get a kill. Also Rubino, and that's how it just falls apart for Orbit. Absolutely makes no sense whatsoever. A massive mistake from Bubble, first of all, to be up in middle, for there to be an opportunity for Dignitas to get that kill, and then got on the B bomb side. Punisher being outside of B bomb side. Look at this. Bubble, first of all, just doing massive work, but then it all just collapses in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, actually, so Bubble, they did Molotov the vents, and it kind of went in a little bit just so Bubble couldn't peek out, but it didn't land properly in the vent. That's why Bubble was still there. So maybe it was a little bit of a mistake from Dignitas with that Molotov placement. And then, I don't know what happens on the site, right? You think, all right, Orbit, you know, they shouldn't have lost that first player, but now they're already set up to retake B from 3 angles. But Tensky, man, he just went to work there from inside a checker.
And that's going to mean a force buy coming in from Orbit. They have 2 rifles and 3 upgraded pistols. And seems like Dignitas is going for the A play. They have all the utility. Let's see how they use them. Because even if there is this, well, there's just 2 members from Orbit right now on this A side. Look at this Molotovs coming in. This is exactly what I was asking for. Here comes the push as well. Spy Leader being the lone rifle on the side. Has to do a lot of work. Gets the 1 kill before it gets traded away by Caribou. That Config is in a bit of an awkward position. It's going to get taken away by NKL. A forklift control is at CT's right now. Massive advantage before Tensky comes in and gets the kill.
The Bubble with the 5-7 could still be lethal, right? You got Kirby on just 2 HP, hiding out in default. Punisher brings down MSL. That was one of the healthy players. It might fall on Tensky one more time. He wants to get out to the bomb. He will throw this flash. That's going to be nicely done. He turns from it, and so does Bubble. So Tensky winning in that exchange, and then why not? Everyone knows the angles. He'll take a shot through the smoke, and it connects to the face of Punisher.
What a round once again, just going back and forth. It looked like Dignitas should not have any problems whatsoever getting onto that A bomb side. Here's Tensky. Look at this. What is that? The crosshair's not even on point. He still gets the headshot somehow.
That's why you spray and move.
Yeah, that's the new meta. Why not? 5-3 Orbit. Now it's going to be a full-on save from the Bulgarian side. Dignitas once again slowly chiming into the game after Orbit having a great start to the game, but, well, a bit of a trade is how the things are starting out. Caribou down 17 HP, still manages to get 2 kills, but a little bit messy start for Dignitas on the Sansai Eco.
Yeah, so Kirby now starting to go off here onto Cash. That's exactly what turned around Overpass, and overall, Kirby's been having a great event, which is something that seems to be a key ingredient for Dignitas. Of course, when they have success, it helps when your star players show up. As the Spy Leader hiding out at the forklift. And Dignitas still playing a little bit slow, maybe expecting a stack of these 3 players on one of the sites, but they are pretty spread out, kind of in a 1-1-1 right now for Orbit.
Yeah, that's something you're supposed to do when you're already in a disadvantage. You definitely want to stack Spy Leader. He's trying to lurk his way behind, but I think it's going to be a little bit late for the party right now.
MSL will break the new vents. He doesn't care about them. So checker control and now working in through B main as well. It's Bubble playing on the headshot angle with the deagle. Can he get anything done? He does find one as he's almost looked like he was jumping up onto the site when he kills Tensky, and this has gotten very, very close into a 2-on-2. Bomb is down as well, and it's way out in the open. Spyleader gonna scoop up that AK, trying to spray down this man at Blue Tarp. That's MSL on 23 HP. He moves his position, gets the bomb, and gets the kill onto Spyleader. Molotov perfectly. That actually connected onto NKL's face. And remember on Dust 2 the other day, we actually did see a Molotov impact kill somebody.
Exactly. Not something we see every day, but what a hairy round in the end it was for Dignitas. Something that we thought would have probably, or should have probably been way more clean. But in the end, it was Orbit managing to make that very competitive, and now they have the rifles once again. Bubble is on the op. Everyone else on the M4s. Only one kit that's going to be Bubble, and seemingly a bit of a push through B. Warehouse seems to be what's in order right now for the Bulgarian side, and there you have it. Punisher's going to get the first one on the Rubino, and it's now deciding to fall back. That's a nice entry from Orbit.
Yeah, and right away, they throw a player up into the vents. That'll help out Victor over there at middle. So Orbit with a great spread across the map now, and Dignitas going a man down. That's certainly going to hurt. It may once again fall on Kirby to kind of open it up. Or Tensky, he has been so good in those clutch situations. Even on the pistol round, he got those 3 really quick Glock headshots. Of course, they lost it, but you know, Tensky came to play today, and here's Punisher. Over at Checker, dropped out of the vent, found 2, and spraying down through the smoke, getting some more damage, needs to reload. Config moving in, does get the kill, and now Bubble with the op, he's there, and it's Tensky, 1 versus 3. Needs to get out to the bomb, he drops the smoke to do so. Flash and push through, trying to channel his inner stew, but it doesn't work.
No, it's not meant for everyone. But this time it was Punisher with the 3K, starts things off with the 3 guys pushing B Warehouse. They get that entry. They fall back to push up on the vent. Oh, eventually Dignitas trying to push that B bomb site. Punisher with a 2K or 3K in the end. It's going to be Orbit picking up their 6th of the half. And now, as we can see, Dignitas is on a bit of a force by 2 AKs and 3 upgraded pistols and a straight up B play coming in.
Yeah, see, was the flash going to be effective? It is not. Bubble's able to dodge that, but he also misses his first shot. Now he's very blind as he's going for the repeats. He's swarmed. Dignitas, they've turned into Zerglings, and they've brought down Bubble.
It's going to be the side control lost right now. And it's always tough 4 on 5. Taking over B bomb side is never easy, no matter what the situation, but being down in numbers, obviously, as well. Config now in prime position to take NKL. He's going to take him to Kirby on the Victor, and now it is Mission Impossible. Orbit has to retrieve. Punisher and Spyleader, the last 2 alive. And they're just going to be trying to evade.
Yeah, just looking to save here. Dignitas starting to string some rounds together, and that one really just coming down to Bubble, right?
Ooh, awkward.
Having missed that first shot over at B, it was pretty rough.
Yeah.
And at that point, I mean,
well,
it closed the gap.
And unlucky also, the fact that they only had him in B in that particular round where Dignitas decides to plow in. He misses that one crucial shot, and that's pretty much the round over.
All right, so Dignitas once again, right? They've gone down early, and now are just stringing the rounds together, making the comeback, and maybe possibly winning the half here on the T side of Cash. And Cash as a map, anyone newer to Counter-Strike, is pretty even between the CT and the T side.
Yep, we see a lot of 8-7s, I think more towards the T side actually nowadays. So it is very even. I think 55-45 spread and 55 towards the T side. So looking pretty good. Orbit right now. They're going to be on a force by surprise, surprise. At UMP and then 4 FAMAS and 257s in play. Right now, it seems like Dignitas is taking things slow. They've sent 1 door, a couple of A mains. It seems like their standard default strategy. Trying to gain some map control, see what's going on, try to feel out what their opponents are doing before making a decision.
You see Config's gone to the left side of A main. MSL going to work in with the op now, maybe try to clear out fence and quad, and Tensky situated at the door. And Config, oh, it's actually MSL who will have the bomb with the op. 2 other players for Dignitas still maintaining that B control and mid control, making sure no one from Orbit can push through. And all right, players are shifting, caught out into the open. That's Spyleader. He'll go down behind the wall of smoke, but Config had eyes on him first. And Bubble, he does get a response back elsewhere. He kills Rubino, who I think was the player over at B, but Config finding another one as Now the smokes are out onto the site.
I think Bubble may have just heard the rotation from the T. Dignitas is out of middle. Caribou is going to get the kill onto Bubble. And that's going to open things up. It's now 4-on-2. And Orbit needs to take aggressiveness right now. Exactly what's going to happen. Punisher and Victor both go down. And that's going to be the 6-6 scoreline. And Orbit has to save at this point.
Yeah, and there we saw the working up middle as a terrorist played correctly, where Hellraisers made that critical mistake yesterday when they both were looking up highway and they pushed through Z, but we got the AK locking it down. That Z connector push shut down, and Dignitas, they've tied it up 6-6.
And also great usage of the Molotovs there from Dignitas, just flushing out the opponents out in open. Config taking the opportunity, got one of the kills before Dignitas decided to rotate back to middle. Now, seems like a bit of a stack here in the Z connector and highway from Orbit. They're just waiting for the right time to push out, but unlucky for them, Dignitas is opting to go for another default round to a main. One door, one just Caribou just holding mid. Like that smoke is going to be there. Cute Caribou is going to open up on NKL. It's going to have a festival here. 3 kills coming in. 3 kill ready. Make it 4. Is he going to get the last one too? The gentleman's rule needs to apply right now. Everyone else, run away. Let Caribou have it. Config.
Oh,
what are you doing? Wow. Don't. And the BM in the end as well.
That smoke was like, you know, the blue lights that attract the mosquitoes. He throws that smoke, and then they just all come running through it. One peeks out from white box, and Kirby not going to lose to the pistols at that range.
All right, we're casually going back to Mirage. Why not, boys? Let's do it.
It's just an illusion. It was Mirage.
Good one. All right, finally Orbit. They will have the money to buy. No AWP, though. Only a FAMAS and NKL as well. Well, we've seen some really good FAMAS play, especially from Stico of Hellraisers so far in this tournament. Rubino and Punisher both taking a lot of damage to show things off, but it's going to be another default round from Dignitas.
Oh, Victor, once again, I can only assume he's at those sandbags. He brings down MSL. We got NKL playing on this fence spot. Molotovs, as he'll see them going out to clear the forklift. So now Dignitas know that is clear. Config into a good spot. If NKL decides to shift off, maybe to quad, and then even further into the site, it's a hard shot, but Config maybe can't hit it. Here we go. Smoke out to block off that truck angle. Now Molotov over to the fence position, but they run in kind of looking the wrong way. That lets NKL get that first kill onto Rubino, but Config going to make up for it. He finds Stu. Victor going around the toxic barrels. His second kill of the round as well. He's going to continue to push in. He'll take Config, who's falling off of the red box. And look at the bomb. It's been left behind. It's Tensky again. How many times has he been in a 1v3?
Well, quite a few times for Dignitas' liking. I think a little bit too many, actually. And that's going to be Victory once again. Going huge. Well, wasn't a retake per se yet because the bomb wasn't planted, but this bomb site was practically lost already to Dignitas before Victor came into the play. Now, since Dignitas has won quite a few rounds, they still have the money to do or buy whatever they like to, and they go for all AKs. And from the looks of things, it's going to be a heavy A hit coming in straight away, and it's only going to be NKL here as the welcome party. But he's going to get the first 2. Nice work from an Spy Leader chiming in as well. Only Tensky being the one to get a kill all that round, and Orbit 8-7 lead on the city side.
Yeah, well, I mean, it seems like it is pretty hard. Like, Dignitas started chaining rounds together, and they made that full comeback, but then Orbit, they're figuring it out. It is always so difficult to completely close out the half, winning all those rounds in a row. Dignitas falter a little bit, and I don't know about the decision to just fly straight into the ace site. I mean, it kind of worked for them on Mirage when they made the similar decision to just rush B, but...
Yeah, it's something you do in matchmaking, maybe, but it does, I would say, works maybe 3 out of 10 times in an actual match. People are going to be so ready, especially in an important match like this. NKL was super ready for it, got the first 2. Spy Leader comes in as well. It was all over before anything really happened. And obviously for the fact that Dignitas had all the utility, they have everything. They could have done so many things, but deciding to just plow into the bomb site seems kind of weird to me.
Yeah, and actually on the last, what would have been round 14 where they were executing onto the A site, they did have that Molotov defense, but they didn't wait like even a millisecond for it to maybe force someone out. They just started going in. I believe it was Rubino who went in first, but he was looking the other way to forklift, which I believe in that round was already cleared out with the Molotov early on. Maybe some miscommunication, jumping the gun a bit, and that may let NKL go really big.
Yeah, it's one of those things you have to make a rule for. Okay, so when we hit A site, we Molotov his spot, so we take 2 seconds of waiting. If there's any CTs in those positions, they're going to have to come out of there, obviously, because they're burning alive. But Now we are in the second half. Orbit has opted to go for it for Armas and Punisher with the smoke. Rubino's going to be the one to open things up once again. He's been really good with the USP, by the way, this tournament. For what I can remember, has had some massive impact. He's going to go down to 2 HP, though, but still gets the entry. Now, Orbit is making its way towards the B bomb side, only occupied by MSL, who is out of position. That smoke is going to come off and isolate the bomb side. Rubino, 2 HP, being on a higher ramp. He's going to try and connect. He's not going to be able to.
Yeah, those were so close. And MSL actually did a little bit of damage through the smoke as they were running in. As he was posted up on the angle. So the retake coming in. Will they expect someone in this mid-B connector? No, NKL gets the kill onto Kirby. Config's trying to make his way in through the vents. NKL actually will grab another one, and Bumble as well brings down Config. Punisher in the site now. It's his turn to work. Rubino on 2 HP. That's an easy kill, and Punisher's just cleaning him up. Bubble assists on that one.
I don't agree with the whole idea of not holding B bomb side, especially in the pistol round. Super hard to retake.
Yeah, it seems like no matter what, the terrorists usually go for one smoke, right? And if you go B, where are you going to throw it? Right there in the connector. So it does seem a little odd.
It's very true. Right now, we see Dignitas half bought into this. Have the Eagles 2 CZs. So 3 Eagles, 2 CZs. Caribou also in an armor. So what a bit of investment coming into this. Nothing too special coming in from them. They have 2 pushing B warehouse right now. Bubble's going to get one of them. He's going to get the second as well. Config and MSL going down. Oh, that's actually pretty much all of Dignitas going down right now. Just Tensky and Kirby remaining.
Yeah, you'll see Bubble pretty much lurking outside of B on almost every round, especially when they know the team's on a anti-eco or on an eco or force buy. Might get more aggressive out there. And Victor, of course, we'll see him so many times on that red crate in the middle garage. One of the best spots on this map to stop the CTs from pulling off any shenanigans.
Yeah, things have slowed down. Orbit is quite spread around right now. One door. They have just either being in the middle, and that's going to be Kirby getting that kill. Don't really necessarily agree with the fact of sending just one player somewhere to see what's going on. Now, rest of the Orbit are pretty much ready for an A push. Kirby is on heaven right now, just waiting for the right time, but he's going to spot his hand. It's going to be game over for Kirby.
He'll actually run away, stay alive, save that CZ and armor as he just hops away. Actually finds himself a UMP, which again is being brought into so many rifle rounds, sometimes even over the FAMAS and the Galil. So they're going to hold on. Tensky with the Deagle can maybe post up for an exit, but also he might look to save.
Yep. That makes sense right now. I'm trying to save Kirby with the UMP. You can do a lot of damage with the UMP. We've discussed this. Has really good armor penetration. For those of you that, well, are not aware of it, it's something that why a lot of the pro players actually use the UMP in the buy rounds as well is because of the armor penetration.
Yeah, still really good in the short mid-range also, and then of course the higher mobility is quite nice.
Yeah, you can jump around.
Low recoil as well.
Yeah.
But only 25 bullets, so make them count. As Dignitas do hold on to the 2 weapons here, Money still has not recovered from losing that pistol, so it'll be one more round likely going in Orbit's favor.
And they kept it clean on the previous one. So that's always nice to have that little buffer with your economy and make it that much harder for your opponent to try and break it. As we can see, Config, Caribou are the ones with a bit of equipment to work with, and Tensky also has upgraded to a Deagle, while MSL with a P250. But not a whole lot. They have a flash on Kirby, so if they wanted to, they could pop flash somewhere and try and get a cheeky kill before an actual push is coming in.
So this is going to be the round where Orbit, who if they actually decide to go A, are really going to need to use their nades, because we've got Kirby hiding out again in that short to mid-range with the UMP. We've already had that discussion. Tensky's posted up at the truck. Deagle, the very dangerous long-range pistol. And of course the R8, but no one uses that anymore. For good reason.
Let's not go there.
But essentially, it's an A stack here for Dignitas, and if Orbit aren't careful, they could lose this round.
Exactly. This is where it's going to be tested. Well, they do have 3 Molotovs at their disposal. They've used one now to the vent in middle, but they've only sent Spy Leader here to middle. It's going to be smoking off C connector and walking up highway to get some intel on what's going on. He's going to get a kill onto MSL, and that's going to be a cue for his teammates for an A push. Now they know it's a party on that A bomb side. Kirby gets a kill with the UMP. Seems like with 35 on the clock, what is Orbit going to do? they're just going to get dismantled right now. With Config and
Wow.
Caribou chiming in. It's only Victor and NKL left right now. And this is where the lack of organization from Orbit is going to cost them a lot. Only NKL right now left. And this is just, wow, what a round. I mean, had they just used their Molotovs and smokes and flashes, that would have been so much easier. Instead, well, let's just go die one by one to their Deagles and UMPs.
Yeah, I kind of had a feeling that when we saw Orbit setting up that was the end result of that round, no matter what, based on our previous experience with Orbit. Turns out in this case, the analysts, we actually know what we're talking about when it comes to Orbit. And I mean, MSL went down first. I thought maybe that was going to be like the first card flicked out and the house was going to come tumbling down, but it just was not the case. It was, again, Kirby who saved the UMP going big from Forklift.
Yeah, now the question is that going to be the one that changes the tides here? It is still Orbit 10-8 up, and they still have money to buy into this one. No Molotovs this time around, but doesn't seem like they want to use them anyway, so not a big deal for Orbit. But still plenty of smokes and flashes to work with. On the other side, you have Dignitas with rifles and a UMP in play. And they have set up 2 on A side, 1 in middle, and 2 towards B bomb side. So they are not investing all too much in the middle. They are willing to give that one away.
A little odd for Rubino to be the one player at white box with the UMP. Of course, if they run up to white box, which players often do, he can deal with it. But if they come over boost or even try to get into vent, he can't really fight back. So that means main control actually now just completely forfeited from Dignitas. They stack up heavier on the A site, but we can see the bomb is going B.
This is the way they like to play, by the way. When the mid control is about to happen, they want to push this A main. They always do that. Kirby and Punisher are going to have a frack each for the team before NKL gets one. Now MSL in a world of trouble here.
Why?
Oh, he's going to have to fall back. All of a sudden, it's become a 4-on-2 situation for Orbit. And they've just disregarded on that B bomb site. The bomb's making its way towards A because one of the Orbit members already there. Config, though, is going to get a player in transition. That's Bubble going down.
I think maybe we caught a glimpse of MSL, you know, being the IGL as well, right? Like, it seems like 100% he should have got that kill over at B, but was maybe distracted, and he maybe is going to make up for it. He comes in off that bomb wall, finds the headshot onto Spy Leader. It's a brief 1-on-3, now a 1-on-2. Spots the shadow first and reacts. Headshot onto NKL, and this is essentially a default plant. Victor will have to run up, and the flash is going to be dropped. They're both blind, and well done from MSL. Victor gets the kill, so it is a Pyrrhic victory there for Dignitas, but a victory nonetheless.
Ah, what a 1-on-2. He saw the shadow like he pointed out, and then he primed his flash before starting to defuse as he heard the last remaining Orbit member run towards the site. He releases that flash, and it totally blinds him, and he gets that defuse done. Not the best position to be in A main when you have that plan, first of all, but,
Yeah.
well, nonetheless, great play from MSL, and that's going to be another heartbreak from Orbit. Now it's going to be a game of, well, a case of their mental fortitude after screwing up those rounds, if they can hold it together, as they are taking over middle right now.
And there's Rubino at the white box, but Victor, of course, too fast, finding the entry. Now Bubble, well, he helps out, but he does go down. Victor with another kill. That's 2 for him on the round. Tensky, the man to look at to A, and he can't do anything. Spraying down, but in between 2 targets. It's Spy Leader that gets the frag there. Now just MSL and Config. One spotted at middle. Victor spraying him down, and NKL killing him from the other side. Now all on Config. 1v4. Yeah, it was. He's just got 2 kills. Now it's a 1-on-2. Going over the little hut. He finds the third and not reloading because no one wants to do that. He pulls out the AK, but killed on the cross as he tries to get over to the bomb.
Now money might be an issue for Dignitas. Look at their bank accounts. Only Konvic and Tensky. Well, they have 3 that are okay with 1 save, but 2 in Kirby and MSL that are very low on economy. Because of the rounds being so close right now, but on the Orbit side as well, it's not looking super pretty. But it is still in the end Orbit that takes that one, and they extend their lead. Dignitas, they have Config with a scout. He's going to be the one to try to be a bit of an aggressor. He's going to try to make some plays. We saw him do some crazy shots with this previously against Ents. Oh, he gets that opportunity, but misses it. Punisher with Galil is going to get the kill.
That was a pretty sick angle. You know, just line it up ahead of time and then jump while crouched. And they know where Punisher is. That brought up to 4 HP as Tensky's now picked up the scout. He also had armor going into this as Dignitas can call it an eco round. They were just evening out the money on some of the players. But still finding a hard start as Config has gone down.
That was a headshot through the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Why it inflicted so much damage. Now MSL just went down 1 HP. Oh, Jerry is going to run through the door. Not going to get much out of it. NKL with the kill. I know, it's just Tensky and MSL out. Tensky needs to go massive here, but he's already made his position known by just shooting first at nothing, but then does get one on the spider. The bomb's going to be down on highway. It's going to be taken by Victor, though. A bomb site is totally open. Tensky with 19 HP. Probably going to try and hold on to this scout.
Yeah, he's got basically everything they bought. He's got armor, he's got one of the Deagles, and he's got the scout. So he's picked it all up. About $3,000 in equipment on him, and he's got almost $2,000 in his pockets. So he'll want to survive. And Orbit could be in a position where they'd want to just go kill him, or maybe they're not really too worried about that scout.
No, and the money is not pretty for Orbit, so they should not be going for this. When you're Orbit, you don't go. Bad Orbit.
You can see Rubino having, yeah, they're doing well right now. You can see Rubino having a rough time, though. Look at 5 and 15.
Yeah, definitely not at the game of his life. Caribou just continuing on what they had on Mirage. I think he is well over 40 frags by now. These two map.
Yeah. Although, to Rubino's credit, we did have that situation, remember, Tensky and Rubino in that first half where they won that 2v4. So they were definitely working well together. But overall, Rubino not quite the fragging power you'd expect or want him to be right now if you're Dignitas.
Yeah, well, a little niche detail. He has his mouse broke as he came here. Has to use another one, which is not his own mouse even. So
did Config smash Rubino's mouse on the floor as well?
I don't know what happened there. But it's the two totally different mouses as well, as it might be a little bit hard for him. Not able to find the mouse of his liking to play with. But right now, it's going to be a save on Dignitas, and they're seemingly wanting to go onto this A main, but Punisher is ready. He gets the first one, and oh, here comes the door push as well. Wow. Looks like going left and right once again. Rubino, well, we just said, I think he almost just doubled his frags there, getting 3 with the CZ. But with down to 13 HP, it's going to be super hard for him, obviously. So I got 8 bullets on that CZ. I think he hears one more. I think that's NKL going to middle main right now. Oh, he's going to spot him run across, but then decides to fall back. 13 HP, like I said. Now gets an AK, and the bomb is making its way towards B-bomb side.
Man, I would have loved to have seen that from Rubino's perspective. The fact you got 12 bullets in that CZ, and he ended up finding 3 kills with it. One of them at fairly long range. Finally, Rubino's brought down, so Orbit have some justice and are getting very close now to actually match point. So that's why this timeout has come.
That was like a flashback to like 2014, late 2014, when CZ was a little bit OP, you could say.
Yeah, I'd still say that.
Yeah, it's on the verge, I would say, right now.
Yeah.
So it's not as OP, obviously. Drawing it out takes a bit of time and all that stuff. So I think it's an okay situation right now.
Yeah, and of course, it gets talked about less, but the kill bonus is still only at $100. So
True. Yep.
You got to think about that, right? A lot of players now, especially on the CT side, have gone for the CZ just like entirely, and you no longer get $300 back. No return on investment, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. But it seems like Dignitas is taking a tactical pause right now. It's been just a lot of weird rounds, to be honest with you, going back and forth here. It's been a lot of individual efforts once again from Orbit. That's made a huge difference. Victor just being a massive contributor when it comes to their entry kills, and Dignitas trying to find the answers on what to do. I guess maybe they want to put more emphasis on that middle area and just play that retake A, because that is the way to go. That's the way that a lot of teams nowadays do it. Just let the T's have that A bomb site and make sure once you're retaking, you take the forklift control, and that's when it comes really hairy for the members of the T side. Play on the back of bomb side. If they're playing on A main, you can smoke that off. So, go for that retake.
Yeah, I mean, we actually have seen Orbit struggle against the forklift control quite a bit. I mean, Kirby, even on that eco round where they ran into the stack, he's there with the UMP. Like, nothing was used to clear it out whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it does get a little awkward. You mentioned the individual plays. Like, what do you say when it's just Victor running out middle, killing 3 people, and then it's Punisher sometimes in A main just running in there and killing 2 or 3 people?
Yeah.
Dignitas, of course, like maybe you play a bit more passive, but at the same time, you can't just give up so much of the map because you're scared. Maybe you need to fortify the map, like you said. Maybe focus more on that mid control.
Yeah, because they have this style right now. What it seems like is that they want to leave out middle. And what they do is when their opponents take, when it seems to them that there's going to be a mid take coming in from the T's, they pop flash into A main and try to go to gain control on this area of the map. That we see Tensky right now again.
That's not real.
That new meta kill going on here. MSL's clutch here. It was a 1-on-3 to start things off. Nice flash in the end. Get the defuse. I think we are Still a little bit away from getting this match back in action. 100 seconds off the timeout still to be spent. But yeah, the way they do things on the city side is that when they lose middle, they like to push one part of the map, be it B garage or be a warehouse. One of the two basically is what they want to push if they lose mid, which is actually a nice way of doing it. They want to get some real estate once losing mid, and to make it that much harder for the T's to try to make a play afterwards.
Yeah, and what about the op, right? We saw the op come out for MSL a little bit on Mirage. They're a team that doesn't often use the op straight away, but Mirage, it's kind of tough to avoid. Do you think maybe there's a chance they try to bring that out on Cash?
I mean, possible, but like I said, they don't really have that superstar opera in the lineup to begin with. So in the end of the day, I'd rather see them just keep it on rifles because they are more consistent with the rifles than the AWP.
And I thought that tactical pause was going a pretty long while. Dignitas took one, and then Orbit took one as well, because we have seen Orbit plagued by the small bladder.
Yeah, it seems like a bladder issue. Yeah. It's just a thing with Orbit.
Which is I mean, it sucks. I know when I'm playing personally at home, like if I have to go to the bathroom, I'm playing very badly. Like I'll just rush somewhere, and if I die, I'm rushing to the bathroom and I'm rushing back. I'm not calling pauses in matchmaking. I'm not that guy.
Well, when nature calls.
Yeah.
Go, right?
So that can't mess with you. But of course, this is a big moment, right? To have wasted. They're in the lead right now. Let's say Dignitas are making this comeback. Now Orbit will not have their tactical pause to fall back on later.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems like a bit of a theme for them. I don't think they've spent their tactical timeouts to anything else except for bathroom breaks so far in this tournament, from what I can remember at least. But yeah, I mean, at least they are right now on that T side. So if they do, run into some issues, they can always just camp in T spawn and try to.
That's true.
Spend a bit of time having a timeout like that, but
the Swedish eco, as I call it. I don't know if that's fair. I don't know if I've upset all the Swedish people in production with that, but
that's one way to put it. But we are back into it. Orbit taking a great grasp of this map. 13-9 up right now. So this is, well, pretty much last call for Dignitas to come up, and Caribou's going to boost up Tensky right now. And see, we haven't seen that before on this map right now, on this occasion at least, and I think slowing down. Orbit just doing a bit of a default here. One door, a couple A main, and pretty much the same stuff we saw from Dignitas as well.
Yeah, definitely a good change, right? Just use the power of the boost to try to open up a round. That's maybe something that's not super sustainable, but it will get you possibly another round and limit the economy of Orbit. And the op has come out for MSL as well.
Yep.
He's taking that over at B, I think. Yes.
Yes, he is holding it that angle, but it gets smoked off right now. And that is where 3 of Orbit members are right now. The bomb is in T-spawn, but it's making its way towards B as well, so that indicates the possibility of a B hit here. They have one player, I think he's up on boost. Just waiting, Punisher there, yeah. Just waiting for the right moment to try to make a play, but MSL is going to connect on the first one. It's going to miss on the second, but Config comes to the rescue before Bubble managing to get 2 of his own, and that's going to be a 2-on-3 situation. The numbers heavily favoring Dignitas now. That is a Bubble left against 3 of Dignitas. Just waiting for the retake to come in. He's going to pick up that AWP and go down by Tensky.
I mean, you can see Bubble. He's in such a bad situation. He wants to try to push CT, take the fight to them, thin the numbers, and then maybe there's a chance at a 1-on-2, but that's tough. So MSL hits the first shot. Maybe could have had a bit of a highlight clip if he hit some more, but Config more than makes up for it. He pops through the vents and he got 2 kills and did about 240 damage. So that was a massive round for Config.
Yeah, definitely. Great job from him. MSL then connecting on the first one, then I was talking about the inconsistency. When you don't op as much, you kind of are supposed to get that second one was running to your crosshair.
Yeah.
But unluckily, he's not going to be able to get that. Config comes to the rescue, and still going to be a buy for Orbit, who are taking it over towards the B bomb side. MSL
died.
Yep. He's just going to get destroyed. And that op is now in the hands of Config. Oh, here comes the push. Config's going to be in a world of trouble. He's going to be dead by now. That's going to be the B bomb site lost. And 5 Orbit members still alive. That's going to be a cue for Dignitas to just fall back and don't want to have anything to do with this. What a round.
Yeah, and Orbit got there. Someone must have had one of those more forward spawns over towards B because they got there so fast. You can see MSL, I'm sure, a very experienced player. He's crunched the numbers. He knows the timings, and he was caught off with just maybe a second there as he tries to let the nade go. Gets caught in the face, and I mean that hurts, right? You have that op, you're trying to make the difference with this change of weaponry, and you go down with a nade, basically having just left your hand. And Config tries to pick it up, but hesitates for a second. Then he's caught on the fallback, and overall, it just looked like Dignitas falling apart on that round. 2 bad decisions.
Yep, definitely not working out in their favor. And Orbit just plowing into that B bomb side, reacting correctly on that entry they managed to get on the MSL. Must have been a naughty shot from one of the Orbit members onto MSL. But there we have it. It's going to be a bit of a force from Dignitas. They obviously had those 3 M4 saved up from the previous round, but having a scout on Config, we've seen he can be really deadly with that weapon, so don't count him out yet. But it is Orbit right now sitting at 14, looking for that map point.
That's tough though. Config playing at the headshot ledge with the scout. Gonna try to be picking off the heads. So that's not gonna be easy for him. Tensky, meanwhile, has pushed into a main. This is, you know, fairly common looking over the smoke, so he's taking a lot of fire back. And he's really lucky to be alive, to be honest.
Yeah. All right, Tensky, time to get out of there. Didn't work out. He did do a lot of damage on the Spy Leader, though. He's down to 8 HP, but somehow manages to stay alive with 69 HP as well. Not really sure how that worked out. Orbit is taking things slow once again. Just weighing their options. They boosted one up. I think that's Punisher once again. Bubble is in middle garage, and the rest of his team, or their team, is making their way towards the A bomb side. Smoke off towards the highway, towards the forklift. Interestingly, no Molotovs being thrown out once again.
That seems like such a risk, right? Like, sure, the smokes make sense. You're just isolating forklift, but then you're going to run past it and they could just push through the smoke. Might not matter here because no one was there. Tensky still playing back over at quad. And Dignitas 2 men down here. Tensky gets one coming through the doors. Looks back over to highway, but doesn't see anything. It's just smoked off for now. Molotov bouncing a few times and pushing Tensky out of that quad position. On the site, that's Config still with the scout. He's in a really tough spot. It's going to be up to Tensky. He gets one more. Config did actually connect onto that player and then brings down Victor. And MSL actually left with a bit of a chance. Spy Leader on 8 HP, Bubble at about half.
Yeah, so much respect shown from Orbit to the 2 members playing that bomb side of from Dignitas. MSL now lurking his way through A main. The timing might not be his friend. The Spy Leader is going to get that kill. And I think that's pretty much going to make Dignitas economy just break at this point. And it is map point for Orbit as well. 2 scouts coming out, CZs and Deagles for the other members of Dignitas. So it's definitely looking like it's going to go Orbit's way.
Yeah, getting on a match point, forcing Dignitas. I mean, we've seen Config. He even did quite a bit of damage with the scout in the last round, but now Tensky has one as well. Certainly not a good sign. Although if they can put some damage in, you know. That's why there's a scout skin called Blood in the Water. That's all it is. And the pistols in this case are the sharks for Dignitas.
Here comes the push from Dignitas. They're going to be pushing through mid. Rubino and MSL. MSL1 getting the kill, but it's going to be a 3-on-3 in this situation. It's Tensky getting one as well. With a scout. Oh, and Kiribu coming in with a deagle, and things are just falling apart for Orbit right now. It's just where them being kind of disorganized can just be a problem against the force buys. Lack of system for them.
Spy Leader's AK is coming up this round. Is this happens? Question mark. As NKL will bring it back into a 2-on-2. MSL coming up short. And on the flank, actually, a little slow, but working his way is Kirby.
NKL being down to 20 HP. 28 HP, rather. Could be a problem, but MSL's gone down. That's all up to Kirby, who is indoor. Lucky for him, the door is actually shut right now. The timing could actually work in his favor. Well, never mind, the bomb does get planted. He's going to come out. He has an AK-47, has an armor, but he's also being sandwiched right now. Spy Leader doesn't really have to do anything, just have to wait for that smoke to disappear. It just does. I think NKL may have been spotted by Kiribu, but it's going to be NKL getting that kill. And hello, back on screen.
Oh, that was fast. I was not ready. Wow, that was, I mean, good attempt there from Kirby in that 1-on-2. You know, had the confidence to just whatever. He's got to take the risk. He slides over to forklift. He doesn't win that battle. But yeah, Orbit. That last round was a little bit sketchy. Bubble had been so good at always shutting down that B aggression. He falls. The pistols go to work in middle. MSL kills Victor. Got close, but Orbit will close it out. Yeah,
I think the one round that really puts this game in a nutshell is the one where it's plowed. Orbit plows B. They got MSL, and then they get Config as well, and they win the round in a matter of seconds. So Orbit's playstyle is so reckless. There's it doesn't. You cannot describe it as systematic. Quite the opposite, actually. Chaotic, I guess. And you know, there's not a lot of thought process, it looks like, for the way that they attack these bomb sites, but somehow they make it work. I think what compensates is obviously their individual skill. Victor just chiming in every single time, and KL also playing really well, and Bubble obviously. So those three guys are the ones that are just making Orbit go forward right now.
Yeah, so everything is pretty much going as expected according to the desk, right? We have Mirage being won by Dignitas. That was their pick. Cash from Orbit, they take that. And we actually get to map 3, which I think everyone wanted to see, which is going to be Cobble. It's the map these teams already played, and it was 16-13 advantage Dignitas. But anything can happen based on that best-of-1 experience. With that, though, stay tuned. We got more of the European minor coming up here. Commercial break.
Wanna see that I'm something else. I'm not living on somebody's shelf. Everyone is seeing that I have this past. Trust me, won't look back.
Orbit, they strike back here on their map pick of Cash, and they extend the series over to map number 3. It's going to be Cobble, and it's a good one for both teams. I think we're all in for a treat here at the European Minor.
Well, we should be. All right. These teams met one another on Cobblestone previously. It was a very narrow 16-13 win for Dignitas in a map that could have gone either way, really. So could be a bit of a coin flip coming up here. That time around, we saw Orbit picking up 9 rounds on the T side, but still, it was Dignitas that prevailed in the end.
Yeah, so now, what actually, you cast the game, right? The Cobble game, the previous matchup?
That was the first game of the, wasn't it the first one I did?
It was one of the first games.
All the
so
way
yeah,
back.
I know it's tough to remember, but from what it was pretty chaotic near the end, right? Some force buys that maybe didn't go in someone's favor. Maybe it was Orbit, but it was close down to the wire, and
Yeah.
I remember thinking that Orbit probably should have won that map, but Dignitas did end up taking it away, and here we are again.
Yeah, my problem really is just continuously with Orbit. It's just the lack of coordination when they're pushing sites. It's so much just, like I said, flip a coin and see what happens. It's so much up to the individuals to come into play and really get the kills. It's not so much about just trying to flush out the opponents. That's the more, like, I guess, conservative way of approaching, the more calculated way of approaching things. But instead, well, they're just like, screw that stuff. We're just going to come in guns blazing.
Yeah, well, I think everyone watching has seen now why they kind of play that way, just because of how good Victor can be. But if you look back to that one round in particular where Dignitas were stacked up on that A site on Cash, and Orbit just ran straight into it. They had the nades to use, but they didn't. That really shows their play style.
Someone needs to show that clip of that round to them endlessly before they understand, how should we approach this differently? What could we do? Oh, yeah. A couple Molotovs. Maybe a bit of timing of how he attacked this bomb site could make a difference. So that's the one concern I have for Orbit. But so far, they've somehow managed to scrape through, and they are, well, very close from qualifying for the major qualifier.
Yeah, and I think we can actually see maybe why. Because of a map like Cobble and a team like Orbit, just the nature of the B site. I mean, you can obviously do very tactical things to take B, to take A, but you can also just toss a flash into the drop room, fly out and drop,
Yeah.
and then toss some flashes over into B and fly off of the platform.
Yeah, I think the drop room could be the key to opening up the defense of Dignitas. I feel like they struggle a little bit there. At the same time, though, the B long, if you can obviously just plow out there, try to get on the plateau, but if you use your grenades effectively on that CT side, just start things off, maybe boost one up on the plateau to try and deny that runner, then that could be a problem for Orbit.
And do you think we'll see the op come out again early from MSL? I guess this would be if they're on the CT side.
Yeah, probably will do, right? So how big of an impact is that going to be? Like I said, I'm a little bit skeptic about the whole idea of using an opper that doesn't op on a consistent basis, because you see streaks of where you're hitting a lot of nice shots, but then you'll see just the missing a lot of the basic shots that you're supposed to get 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah, and I'll be keeping my eye on Rubino, right? He didn't have that great performance on Cash, but Cobblestone. Why am I hearing reggae horns?
I love that. Why not? Why not?
Reggae Stone. As, yeah, looking for Rubino to do a little bit better of a job on this map, as he is very comfortable lurking over at B, going and drop late, or just starting things off on the platform.
Now, here we go. It's going to be Cobblestone, the decider off this upper bracket final between Dignitas and Orbit. And we have Orbit on that T side. NKL has a grenade and has a smoke grenade. Everyone else, just pure armors. And we can see already Rubino and one of his teammates, just Config, just pushed up here on B plateau, similar what they did on the previous match against Ens on Cobblestone as well. That time Rubino just went ham. I think he ended up with 3K with the USP. But, well, Orbit deciding to just take over side all. They've spent that one smoke they have to cut off the side all and just take over Danger and down middle.
Yeah, so Victor's taking control of that middle room right now, and you can see Dignitas in pretty much full rotation, right? Leaving that B site, or at least getting in closer to drop so the rotation is faster. Tensky was actually a team flash that had him blinded up for a little bit. He's heard some noise, and he's going in. He's curious right now, and he can't come away with the headshot. Does tag him up just a little bit.
Doesn't have MSL to help him out, though, but at this point in time, if there's going to be a split, it could be a world of trouble for Tensky and MSL. MSL down already before Tensky manages to retaliate, but Victor once again with 2 nice kills. And look at this cutoff from Bubble. And one of his teammates through connector, Rubino, is going to go down. That's up to Config and that B bounce and Kirby on A to try and fend off this attack, but it's not going to happen, is it? It's just Rubino, Config left now, rather. And he is gonna go down as well. Bubble getting that kill. Another slightly chaotic one from Orbit, but they make it work.
You can see Orbit taking control of long A in that mid room very early on, and then 2 situated in drop. So they run the 3-2 split over onto A, and it was initially MSL and Tensky not effective enough from the positions they had on CT's slope, and then 3 players pretty much getting caught on the rotation over from the members. I guess Bubble, who was over there coming out of drop.
Yep. Dignitas, they've upgraded some pistols, but they have not opted to go on a full-on buy. MSL is in danger right now, but he's gonna get smoked off. Spy Leader being the point man, just jumping into mid. He's got all of his teammates following up on him too. It seems like it's gonna be a heavy stack towards this B bomb side, so things are working out great so far for Orbit. MSL, he's playing with the idea of going through the smoke. He does that, but he's gonna die while doing it. Now it is gonna be a 4-on-5. And the A bomb side totally lost. So, under Dignitas, probably just try and save these upgraded pistols.
Yeah, sit back. Maybe put a couple people in danger to just get a, well, not the spot danger, but in danger. Try to get an exit, maybe come away with one of those rifles. Although I imagine Punisher and NK will be quite safe with theirs. Let the UMPs and that MAC-10 kind of charge out of this site, as actually Dignitas have run so far away at this point.
They're going all the way to T-spawn as it seems right now, so they definitely just opt to go and save these weapons instead of trying to get some exit kills. Well, for everyone else except for Kierbu, he is still playing with the idea of trying to get some cheeky kills, but with this range, he should be in a lot of trouble. In fact, Orbit right now, they are taking it very, very conservatively, just staying down the middle, in danger, inside all.
Yeah, I mean, Orbit realistically don't have anything to be worried about, even with those pistols saved up into this next round. I mean, we've seen a glimpse of some sick 1-digs from Dignitas, but I don't think any of these deagles have really earned them any points on the scoreboard.
That is very true. Now, we go into round number 3. And as we know, Dignitas did save those pistols, so that might be a bit of a help, but as we can see, again, they are going towards that B bomb side with heavy numbers, just leaving 1. Being MSL towards the A bomb side. Config getting boosted on the plateau with the Deagle. And like you said, we've seen some crazy shots with the Deagle from these Dignitas members, but they're not going to get a lot out of this because it's going to be Orbit once again taking over middle. The bomb, however, is dropped towards the B, so this is not so straightforward from Orbit right now. It's that we're trying to make it seem like a similar round from the previous one, I think, with Spy Leader now also making his way through side hall.
Yeah, and MSL, he's in a good spot. Maybe it goes unchecked. The only thing is he's the one guy that has just a USP, which is maybe an indication that he will be pulling out the op early on, and Spy Leader from up top by the tree that we'll find about first.
This was actually quite nice from Orbit. They sent a Spy Leader for a little of a scouting mission with the UMP, and he figured out the whole A side is empty. And well, that's obviously going to cue Orbit members to just fall back from towards that B bomb side towards A bomb side. Dignitas already on the retreat, and this time around I would expect them to try and get some exit kills. They are gearing up for middle, and there is one of the Orbit guys right there right now. I think it's Punisher hiding in one of these corners and should be able to hear if anyone from Dignitas makes a step.
This is a thing on Cobble, right? Like, there are so many nooks and crannies. Like, this is not really even an angle, especially as a CT where you're in the middle where the terrorists normally are, coming back over to A. Punishers, so getting that first kill for free. Now they will know where he is, and there's like the submachine gun's gonna come in to help out. Spy Leader grabs 1, and that was Bubble running up here through the boulders. He'll bring down Config, and they have spotted Rubino out here.
What are we watching? Matchmaking?
Over in Hogwarts, trying to get something done.
Good old Disney. Love this in 1.6 public.
Yeah.
10 years ago. Rubino making it work, gets one nice headshot on the Spy Leader before going down by NKL. And now here comes the first hurdle. It's going to be Dignitas finally getting to buy fully, and it seems like the art is going for the M4s. There are no incendiaries for them to be spent or used. Just 3 kits, but still quite a few grenades to work with to fend off fast attacks. Let's see what kind of an approach we do have from Orbit this time.
Well, Molotov over here to deny anyone just jumping up, but that gets put out immediately by the smoke. So you can see Dignitas do want to use some of that utility to maintain the platform control, and we have a player that has gone ahead and gone up onto the platform.
Very slow approach from Orbit, though. They are taking their sweet time, even taking over middle. As we can see, Dignitas, they've doubled up here in danger. And what they like to do a lot of the time is to wait their time, sweet time, and then pop flash through that smoke and just try to go ham in mid. I think that's what they're setting up right now. Tensky and MSL, they're just waiting for the right time. MSL is going to pop one through here. That's actually double flashing it, and here we go. It's going to be ready to rumble. MSL is going to get the first one, making 2 right now. It's going to spot a third, but this is the point you have to retreat. You've already made the numbers favor your team heavily, so no point in trying to take a third fight. And that's exactly what's going to happen in the end.
Yeah, very well done from MSL. Not generally the member of this team you expect to step up and get things done, but he's had some massive rounds on all the maps. That one big clutch, what was it, 1v4? Yeah. Over on that A side of Cash, and then of course here when Dignitas once again, by the way, have lost a pistol and started off a map at least 3-0 down. And actually, if Dignitas get this here, that'll be one of their better starts to a map.
Oh, perfect flash, but Bubble doesn't care. He's going to get the kill. As is NKL, that's going to be the A defense just dismantled. But here comes the rotation already. There's 2 CCs behind the guard. And Rubino and Kerr beginning the kills, and Rubino with the double in the end. Well, it looks pretty good in the end, actually, for Orbit. Getting that actually on the MSL. Seemed like the bomb side was going to get emptied, but the rotation fast enough, and that's going to be round number 1 for Dignitas. This pop flash, though, that was the MVP of the round together with MSL.
It's such an easy lineup, too. He just like goes in the corner and aims at the one part of the sign. So that was nice.
Yep.
Putting that in my brain.
Yep.
Because I like to use grenades.
I like to do the under tosses, jumping, looking down. They're my favorite ones.
Yeah. I actually love grenades in CSGO. I think it's one of the best changes going over to this iteration of Counter-Strike.
It's a little much to learn, but right now, a lot faster from Orbit in middle. That's going to be Tensky on the hot seat. He does get the first one. MSL to help him out to take out Victor and also Bubble before Punisher manages to retaliate, but that's going to make it a 4-2, already heavily favoring Dignitas.
Yeah, Rubino rotating over already, having jumped off the porch, going over to A, and this is why, because they know they can't be B. Kirby's pushed all the way through. He's just come down the Dragon Room. He won't have to deal with NKL, because Tensky has. Now expecting this last player to be up at long. Kirby, he may not push through until they know exactly where he is. Punisher starting to peek, so yes, the information is had now. Punisher kills Rubino. And the flank actually not quite there yet. Punisher so aware that they might have got down there already. He's trying to make this expensive. Nade going in, down to 3 HP, and then Kirby will finish him off.
Good job from Dignitas there. Orbit trying to make things a lot faster, but that gets punished by Dignitas. They get the entries. Tensky and MSL doing huge work in mid. And right now, what is the, well, when you're Orbit, you always buy anyway. And this time, they do get 4 AKs, a P250 on Victor, a bunch of grenades to work with. And again, they're sending all their team towards middle. In the meanwhile, though, it's only going to be Tensky here in mid. Seems like Dignitas might be anticipating a fast B play. But instead, it's going to be Sidehall taken over by Orbit.
Well, Punisher moving up. Long A. Meanwhile, MSL playing at the connector door has found Spy Leader out there in mid-room, or maybe trying to get up the CT slope. But then MSL caught completely off guard. Tensky way up top and in the open, exposed from every angle. It's Victor, who started the round with a P250, but finds an AK. Does then get 2 kills with it. Makes you wonder why they gave him a P250 only in the first place, as Config and Rubino grabbing that kill onto Bubble. Rubino working around the side of the truck. Config coming out for the quick trade. That'll bring it into the 1 versus 1. He'll use that smoke as cover, shift back in and change his position. Maybe a flash going out for misdirection, but I don't think Punisher really even noticed that. And now he's just got to guess, right? Is it the door? Is it the little hut? Or is it coming over the porch?
And Config just heard Punisher plant the bomb. They're going to face one another here. Oh, it's going to be Config coming out on top. And he's going to get that defuse going. And the BM shots after getting the... Okay,
more.
well, come on. What are you on about? Why would you be shooting at that little spot there?
He's one of the younger players, you know.
All right, we're gonna have a little word, young man. What is this?
It does tilt some players that like from the other perspective. So I don't know. So much for the sportsmanship, but Config clearly hyped up after winning that 1 versus 1, but still it got really, really close, and you can see the money's still at risk.
And also, what I really didn't like from Orbit is they got the entries, they get the bombs out of control, but still they took way too much time to even get to the bomb side. Eventually, they didn't even really get to the bomb side before it was a one-on-one. So they need to react faster in that situation when they get the entry. They got MSL, you just gonna run with it.
All right, MSL. He's been pushed back already as Orbit have waterfalled into the drop room, so he has to give it up. Kirby playing at Rock, and oh, MSL will fall, actually. Rubino in a great spot on the site here, and Kirby deciding to actually go in aggressively. Oh, this is why, because Tensky's jumped in from the other side. He's found 2, but all in all, it has not worked out. Crazy aggressive play there from Dignitas leaves them a man down.
Indeed, it does, and it's going to be Orbit in the drop zone with 2-1 and B-Long. They're just going to be waiting for any potential push from Dignitas. Rubino's going to come in. Somehow managed to make it 2. Was not supposed to happen, but once again, Rubino with the massive plays. And it's going to be all down to Bubble. He's only got a deagle. He gets one, but Rubino has got a possibility for another kill. Here we go. The man of the hour. He's from Norway.
That's a clip right there. Hitting the hops through the door, and then the spray transfer onto 2. He also still has a teammate alive, but is able to finish off. And here we go. Oh, we missed the jump, which was almost the cooler part of that. The spray transfer, of course, incredible. And he goes on to get 1 more kill. Dignitas, not really a round they deserve, but Rubino will give it to him.
Exactly. Rubino. See the superhero to deserve.
It's the one they need right now. I think that's fair.
The 4-3 Dignitas right now in orbit. 2 Galils and 3 AK-47s. Quite a few grenades to work with, so possibilities are there for them to be used. Taking things a lot slower this time around. Again, it's going to be Spy Leader taking the lead here in middle, but it's going to get tacked up a little bit. Decides to just fall back, and they haven't really been able to get any ground on the map. With 45 seconds already gone from the time.
Yeah, and Punisher's not really made too much progress here out to the B platform. You can see Config, he's been basically every single round here on the platform. Besides the pistol, I think Rubino did it on the pistol round, but he's denying them access. Rubino is hearing this drop, but having the turn from the flash, spinning back around, but he can't beat out Victor. And Kirby goes through the window to try to work on that chaos there in drop, but it just doesn't work out at all.
Like I said before, it seems like drop zone or drop room is the one place that really is a bit of a problem for Dignitas. They haven't found the, I guess, the synergy how to have those 2 players play it. And again, it's going to be Orbit just exploiting that beautifully. They get the 2 kills and then even 1 more on B-Long, and that's all she wrote on this round. Orbit with the nice round. They'll have 4 players survive this one too. That means that they will be building a bit of buffer going further.
Like I say, I'm really not a fan of Dignitas. Like they keep losing this drop room control, and they keep just trying to re-aggress from both sides. Like I guess the thought's like, oh, we're going in both sides at the same time. There'll be so much confusion. Someone will get the kills, and Tensky did 1 time, but even that left them a man down. And I don't know. It's so easy for Orbit. They just have 1 guy watch window. That's all you need, and the other, however many are in there, can just work out the main exit into B.
Exactly, and look at the money for Dignitas. It's in shatters. Rubino, Kirby, Config, and Tensky so low in money that they're going to be in trouble in terms of their economy. So this actually makes total sense for them, considering they saved the weapons too. They just go full all in on this one. They do get a scout, a FAMAS, an AK, and 4, and a CZ in the play. Scoreline being 4-4, so this could be a really, really important round in terms of how this half is going to end up going.
Yeah, be quite a few rounds in Orbit's favor if they're able to take it, and then Dignitas, of course, will avoid disaster. I think is a good way to put it. If they're able to take round 9, as Orbit will start off fairly slow with 3 out in middle.
Very slow approach once again from Orbit. Smoked off danger once again. They're going for middle. As we can see this time around, it's only MSL towards the danger area, so I don't think we're going to see a pop blast this time around, and It seems as though this is a bit of a fake from Orbit, trying to make it seem like mid control has been obtained, but instead they have fallen back towards that B bomb side. Tensky in a bit of a cheeky position though. That could really surprise the attacking Orbit members.
Not even once, I feel like, have we seen Orbit get aggressive initially into the round and try to fight back with utility of their own to take control of this platform, though. So that's look at Tensky. He's slid up all the way near those boxes. He's going to find the first kill, and you expect the trade to come out from Kirby, but it doesn't. He goes down. Rubino falls as well. No, Config stuck with a scout here on Rock. That's a disaster. MSL through the museum, and on the flank, we'll find Spy Leader. He goes and tries to steal the nades, but there were none to find.
This is the disaster we're talking about. Their money is in shatters. Orbit's going to take the 5-4 lead, so they should give them an opportunity, Orbit, a good opportunity to build up with the rounds as well. MSL just trying to survive, 19 HP left. Would be a victory on itself, just, well, survive this round. Well, wanting to do something really cheeky, something we saw at a CPL in 2005. Try to have a bit of a cheeky ninja defuse here, but
that was the other site, though.
Having killed Victor, too bad the Punisher is already there. I think he was actually trying to do the same thing in a previous match. I think it was against Anderson Cobblestone as well. He was trying to do a ninja defuse. Doesn't work. And there you have it. It's going to be Orbit now taking the lead 5-4.
Yeah, and as mentioned a couple times, Dignitas, they got nothing. They could maybe afford some rags, but I don't think that's going to help you out too much in Counter-Strike. They'll go for a P250. Maybe would have liked to have also seen just one flash, or maybe even Tensky forget the P250 and just get the flash.
Yeah, the problem is that for the following round, they're either going to have to get like UMPs or FAMASs, or just have a massive lack of grenades. And when you're CT and Cobblestone, especially the ones that are playing B-bomb site, you need a lot of grenades to work with. MSL with a bit of an encounter here in middle. Rubino down at 40 HP before Spider makes good work of him. Rubino, though, he's going to have the trade kill. Makes it a 4-4. Things will slow down. Nothing really happened except for those 2 kills. No map control being obtained. NKL is going to get a kill as is Victor, so that's just Dignitas basically just offering the kills. It's the way of Orbit.
Yeah, I thought Kirby, he got down to mid-room to get the MAC-10, and it was pretty unknown. He might have been able to get a kill. He almost did. Victor left on just 8 HP, but now NKL's gone and killed Tensky, and it's Config again. Trying to get back to that MAC-10, but as he peeks out, NKL is right there and ready for it. So Orbit 6-4 now.
Yes, and it's going to be a buy here for Dignitas. I do get M4s across the board, but no defuse kits whatsoever. They don't have any Molotovs to work with. But, well, they'll have to do with this. The other side, no AWPs being played, by the way. Really,
yeah,
so we haven't seen that too much. Either side. Orbit, once again, sending 2 towards the B bomb site. 3 just waiting all the way up in middle. On the other hand, Dignitas have sent 4 players over the B bomb site to start things off, and just MSL alone. Well, you know what, rather Tensky alone here towards the A bomb site.
And honestly, Dignitas, I mean, they don't have all the nades they want to work with. And you mentioned the players in B do need a lot of utility on the CT side, but Dignitas really don't. Orbit has never challenged it like straight away in a round. They always concede the control of that platform, that plateau area over to Config. And Tensky was over there a couple times helping him out. And yeah, you can see he's over here again.
Yep. Just Punisher taking an angle towards those stairs to B long, and Rubino is going to pop flash into towards B, but no one to be found. Again, it is Orbit just waiting for the right moment to try to get that mid control. As you can see, the smoke here has cut off the side all, but there's no one in the other side of that smoke, so it doesn't make a huge difference. MSL is going to go down bubble with a nice entry on the drop, once again being a problematic position for Dignitas. Kierbu is trying to retaliate, only managed to get 1, but it's Punisher and Spy Leader to get the follow-ups, and it's now a 4-on-2 situation. That's going to be the A bomb site lost once again. And things are going from bad to worse for Dignitas.
Rubino going to try to push through, does find 1 player blind. Actually, both members from Dignitas are going to get out of the door and through the smoke, and they do it quite healthy. Config finds 1 more, so going in for a 2v4 retake. Config getting another onto the broken wall at A. Punisher, they will not expect them here, but okay, maybe they will. Rubino right on him, and Rubino Config, they each get 2. And again, around the Dignitas shouldn't have a stake in. They take it.
Exactly. It's been a bit of a storyline for this tournament for Dignitas. They are in these situations where they're definitely not favored than their individuals Config.
You'll have to sit them down and have a talk with them.
We're going to have a talk. that does not fly. They come out with these rounds that they're not supposed to be winning. Somehow 2-on-4s, Rubino, Config comes in, pop flash from Connector. They get the first one, but they get the second one, and they get the third one, who was low on HP on the site. Becomes a 2-on-1 all of a sudden, and then there you have it. Dignitas picks up a round that we're never supposed to. Obviously, you could also argue that lack of coordination from Orbit's side does help it a little bit, but nice pop flash nonetheless from Rubino through Connector to make that all possible.
Well, we can see that the boost has gone off here. Kirby's up there. Bubble is waiting for this, but he's not quite tall enough to spot a player out. Unless Kirby decides to round the corner. He did take some significant nade damage, so I highly doubt he's going to want to peek. He's going to sit up here, and people get information if anyone starts making steps or moving about. Kirby will know, and it's Orbit. Basically the default they've been running every single round now. Start 3 out middle and 2 over to B.
Kirby, let's see if he can make things work as the bomb is making its way towards the B bomb side. Is timing going to be his friend? The answer is no. Spy Leader gets the kill. That's going to be the entry once again, going the way of Orbit. Config is going to be the one here drop and taking a bit of an off angle. It's going to be 3 Orbit members coming in, and Victor to the victory. He's going to get that one as well. Bubble on Rubino. Victor on the MSL, and that's just the defense going down like a house of cards. Tensky being the last member alive, 34 HP. Getting a kill on a Spy Leader, but that's not going to make a huge difference. It's pretty much all over by now.
I'm not sure that Dignitas have held drop room even once.
No,
it's been
horrible
really,
right
really
now.
bad.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the times early on in this half when they were losing it, then they just kept going back into it, trying to fight for it, but I mean, we could just give it up. I thought, well, you were there, right, at the Asia Minor. I thought Tyloo had a really nice B play on Cobble, and they were just always giving up that drop room.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of ways you can approach it. You can have a lot of coordination when it comes to flashing it once the attack comes in, and then just plow in there and destroy the attack. But obviously, Dignitas is having a lot of trouble. Get that one out. Tensky. Oh, takes a bit of time, and it's going to go down eventually.
I thought he died from the bomb.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be Victor getting that one. Tensky, a little bit of an awkward situation, getting those shots going. And there you have it. Orbit 7-5. Taking the lead in Dignitas' economy once again in Shatter. It's Rubino, Kirby, and Config are not looking pretty in terms of their money. And Orbit should be grasping a nice lead here. Last time they managed to get 9 on T side. Are they going to be able to better by 1?
Yeah, that's true. It might come down to their CT side once more if they're to close it out. Here, Dignitas, again, money bad. They've gone for a couple pistols, and Victor has found them out. Took him a while, but he gets the first kill there with the MAC-10. Another 600 bucks for him. Money certainly not a problem over on Orbit, as now they are storming out. Victor going to grab 1 more and actually make it a triple. He's grabbed 3 already, all done from drop. And MSL with the Deagle will. Nope, he's going to fall as well. Victor is on for the ace.
Gentleman's rule has to apply. Let Victor go for the hunt. No, that's going to be Spy Leader. You're not supposed to get that frag. Tensky goes down. Bad manners, but again, it's going to be Orbit winning that one. And like you said, look at Victor, look at NKL. They're swimming in money.
We've had that situation a couple times, right? We had Spy Leader deny the ace just now, and I think back on Cash, we had Config deny one of the aces.
Yeah, I don't like that. Gotta give the man a chance at least.
I mean, I can see with the pressure why you would just want to get the kill and get on with the next round and keep up the hustle, I guess, so to speak. And we've got Dignitas. This is not good. This is round 14. And look at their buy. It's not very good. And if they lose this round, certainly round 15 will be even worse looking.
Yeah. Rubino has a meat grinder, but obviously Orbit having armor is going to make things a little bit harder. With that P90. Oh, what a nice grenade. That's going to make a lot of damage to NKL. Half of his HP taken out by 1 grenade. MSL is going to get boosted here. And see if Tensky is going to be the one trying to bait him towards him. MSL. No, actually, MSL's taking a very aggressive approach to this, but he's not going to connect. And the trades are going to go in the favor of Orbit. Once again, A defense destroyed. Kierbu, though, he's coming in with the FAMAS. He's going to get 1, but not more than that. It's going to be down at 22 HP as well. Actually, the HP is pretty much equal across the board. Not anymore, as Config now is going to be the last one. Has a scout, gets destroyed, and Orbit is going to have their chance at making it 1 better than the first time around on Cobblestone.
Did you catch what happened there? Orbit, they threw a Molotov there behind the van, and that got some of the players. That was Rubino, who was hoping they could come up close. He got pushed out into the open. He had a P90. He had no chance. So Orbit doing very, very well, and this round is certainly worse for Dignitas in terms of their equipment.
Well, every now and again, you have to have an exception to the rule to make it a rule. And that's exactly what happened there. Good usage of a Molotov, and just look at the equipment that Dignitas has to work with here. It ain't pretty. Orbit, however, they're taking things slow. This is the right approach. In this situation, you know your opponent's money is low. You just don't want to plow into a site. This would actually be the round where you want to have that really good B piece. With flying in smokes, Molotoving all the corners, nice ball flashes, and just plowing into the site. But obviously, Orbit is a team we don't really think they're probably going to do that.
Yeah, I mean,
Very unlikely.
They've gone back to what they've been doing, 3 out in middle, 2 over at B, which will probably lead them into drop room. But the last round, actually, Orbit did something pretty different. They had 4 straight away into that long A hall. Looked like it might work out for Dignitas as they were going for the boosts and whatnot, but no, they couldn't hit the shots there. And now NKL, he could be running into a bit of a trap. He's going to jump and nearly getting MSL. Brought him down to 5 HP, but that's a kill going the way of Dignitas to start things off.
And that's going to just initiate an attack from Orbit here. Victor getting one on MSL, but Tansky with the retaliation. Now the situation favors Dignitas. As I say that, though, it is going to become a 3-on-3 quite quickly. The bomb is making its way up middle right now. Again, it's taking so much time for them to get the bomb to the bomb side. Once they've cleared it, it should have been planted by now. Now the problem for the CTs is that they don't have any grenades to work with. They don't have a defuse kit, so it's going to be a lot less time to work with. Bubble getting that kill. This could just make matters worse.
And Spy Leader playing from a spot where you always get a kill. Of course, I've said that. And he won't get a kill. Although he spotted that man far first, it missed his initial shot. So then he was known, so it kind of broke down. Rubino with the chance, actually, 1 versus 2. He can kill this first player, perhaps. It will be a little more difficult to deal with Bubble, who is further away, and there's no kit here for Rubino. Bubble is... Oh, he has got him off the bomb, and now he's being shot at. He knows he's just got to stay behind the cobblestones, and he does die, but there is no time here. Orbit will take the half, 10-5.
They did have it one better than previously. 10 rounds to Dignitas' 5, and, well, what can you say, really? I mean, it was just a lot of weird rounds, to be honest with you. Still, I seem to me, even though they got 10, there's a lot of like really scrappy rounds where they could have won them so much easier, but they take a little bit too much time committing to a bomb site when they create an opening, like they got MSL or Tensky quite a few times. This is the cue they should just run with, but instead they're waiting a little bit too much and the rotation comes in. So it was more actually Orbit's little mistakes that gave Dignitas the opportunity to even get those 5 rounds.
Yeah, exactly.
If I'm honest with you.
And we saw the same thing on Cash too, right?
Yeah.
There were a lot of clutches that were won from Dignitas. You know, 1v4 we had a 2v4, stuff that should just never happen.
Yeah.
So Orbit maybe do hesitate. Like they have this crazy, they have a wrecking ball pretty much in Victor to open up the sites.
Yeah.
Which is great,
Yeah.
but then they hesitate a little.
But, as we know, CT sides are not their forte, you could say. That's where they struggle more often than not. So, let's see how this works out. Dignitas still has a really good T-side on Cobblestone. They have some really good pieces going towards that B-bomb side. So, let's see how Orbit manages to fend those off.
Yeah, going to the pistol could be tough though, right? I think, is it 5 out of 5 for Orbit? I think they have won every single pistol.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think they have. So now this would be a good time to try and change that statistic when you're Dignitas.
Yeah, and what a time to do it. The pressure is mounting. We can see maybe the player's a little bit on edge. Config has obviously been upsetting you a little bit.
Definitely. I mean, that's the kind of behavior you just don't want to see. I'm pretty sure, obviously, we don't hear them now. We're situated differently, but previously we've heard that the Bulgarians are very loud, and you know that can seem quite obnoxious when you're playing against them, probably. So you know it must be just triggering them a little bit to go overboard and you know do all those overkill things they are doing, especially Config being a young kid and all. But it's not acceptable. I don't like it.
Oh man, I like the cheering last night, which the after party of course was last night. Yeah, we're still here and there's no party after, but this big holiday in France, of course. But Schneider was busting out some sick dance moves.
Okay.
And I would like to see that on post-round celebrations, when they go to the camera, like we saw Bubble work in the camera yesterday, just get up and start dancing.
Yeah, why not? Why not? I mean, that'd be the first. I've not seen that before, but you never know. Maybe we should get Schneider to dance here on the desk.
Yeah, there you go. As they got, well, you guys took him out of the tournament, right?
Oh, yeah, we did. Get wrecked,
No
Schneider.
big deal. But I believe we actually had a tactical pause for Dignitas, which again is kind of odd that it came at halftime. So maybe it is that situation where someone needed
Platter.
to run to the bathroom.
Yeah, it's not the first time, is it? But Dignitas may actually could use this little pause as well. Like we said, it was more Orbit's mistake that gave Dignitas a chance to even get those 5 rounds. And then obviously winning those 2-on-4 situations, Rubino, Config just coming in, winning a totally unwinnable round. So they definitely need to cool down a little bit. This has been their issues, have been psychological. We find a lot of the time, especially when things get close. Seems like they just kind of lack the composure they need to have. But we are in the pistol round right now, and there is 2 sets of nades for Dignitas to be found. Rubino with a P250, a smoke and a flash. MSL, Tech 9 and a smoke. But look at this aggressiveness that Orbit is showing right now. Kierbu, though, being the first guy to get a kill. Spy Leader in prime position for some kills, but it's going to be Tensky to take him out of the map.
Yeah, Spy Leader, a bit of a failure there from his perspective. It is kind of hard to hit people when they're facing away from you and running away from you in this game, but should have come up with a little bit more. And now it's all going to fall onto NKL and Punisher from the looks of it. And oh, there you go. Bomb already dropped down at the rectangle. Punisher on the fallback, able to get one more, and he stays alive. NKL, no such luck, though. Over in drop. Config will take him out with the Glock headshot. As Dignitas want to try to get that first pistol round of this best-of-3 series. You can see MSL worked his way through that smoke. He found Punisher, who was low, and now it's all on Victor. 1 versus 3. Bomb's been planted. He knows that one player is at least still on the site. I think he's seen a few others further back. And Tensky, that was not the person that was jumping that got that shot. It was Tensky on the ground with the P250.
Also, Orbit showing some aggression in middle, but it did not work in their favor. They lost the 2 first members. It was Punisher that made it competitive. In connector, his first shot was really nice. That's going to be Kierby going down with the bomb. And now Rubino through the smoke as well. Obviously, you got a glimpse of Rubino's positioning before the smoke went off, but there you go. It's going to be Dignitas getting that pistol round, and surprise, surprise, Orbit has force bought into this. Why play the numbers when you can just risk it all?
Yeah, well, it is just that second round. So the force buy here, very common in Bubble, dealing with some aggression straight away. He'll take Tensky. He sits him down on the bench, and now it's Punisher's turn, but he can get nothing done as Kirby will find 2, and he opens up long A.
Yep, and that's going to be a 4-3 situation right now. Dignitas getting control of this. And the site right now, if you look at the minimap, is totally empty. One of, I think it's Victor right now who's pushed up in middle. He's going towards the B halls. So this might dictate or actually make them think it's going to be a B push, but it's only Rubino right now who is there. Oh, but right now it's going to be Config coming in. It's going to get surprised by Victor's positioning. He goes down and Victor gets an AK-47. So now the remaining 3 Dignitas players very spread around. Spy Leader, I just realized what's going on. Oh, it's going to take a long-range battle with this CZ. I'm not really sure what it was doing. Should have just hidden on the site.
Yeah,
probably way better.
Like maybe he was trying to get over to the barrel's position, but you run the risk of course, being seen, and that's exactly what happened. So he goes down without a fight, pretty much. NKL working up around the van, and here's Victor. He picked up the AK, 2 kills on the round for him. Maybe a chance for more. NKL jumping and
once again
taken out of the air, and it's going to be Victor. Oh, I think he does spot that player at the telephone pole. We'll go up into the site now. Victor nearly getting that one. Kirby, I think, on 9 HP.
Why is NKL jumping those corners? This is not Quake. You're not supposed to be jumping like that. Doesn't make sense. You're not going to be able to shoot precisely if we do. Well, still quite competitive round from Orbit, though, it has to be said. They're going to be spending even more money now. Spy Leader, Bubble, Victor, and NKL operating pistols after that full force buy. And they're sending all 5 to B bomb side. Oh, little do they know, though, 4 of Dignitas are working their way towards the A bomb site.
Yeah, Dignitas going to be pretty happy pretty soon once they realize the coast is completely clear, and they still have Rubino, as he often will be, lurking over there towards the B side of the map, now starting to throw out some smokes and actually keep Orbit a little engaged as they're hearing some noise, some contact from the enemy, and Rubino going to find out a boost does complete that spray through the door onto Victor. Nicely done. And MSL, he knows exactly what's up. He wants to go make some money, but Bubble says, nah, that's not going to happen. And he pays for his P250 basically with that kill. Rubino, meanwhile, in drop, gets NKL as he pushes through the smoke and is going out to look for some more. Tensky helping out on that one. And man on the site, that is Bubble. Trying to get one more kill on this round. The nade, not quite enough, but there's Kirby from platform.
Yeah, that was rather clean from Dignitas this time around. Again, they're going to be building a bit of a buffer for future rounds here. We see Rubino's nice little spray down on a Punisher and Victor, I think it was, on the boost. And here comes the first weapon round, and as we see Orbit spending so much money on the force buy and even the third round, means that they are very limited with their equipment right now. There's not a single diffuse kit. There are 2 FAMASs in play, 3 and 4s.
Well, here's Orbit looking to use some nades to get control of the platform. There is a smoke down there. And NKL is just going to play close by with that FAMAS. Tansky, meanwhile, going to pop flash through. NKL very, very blind. It has gone unchecked. Finally, Rubino turns to look at him. Does get the kill there. And, oh, that's a team nade there from Bubble. Punisher grabs one, and then Config and Rubino each grabbing a kill. And Victor with a double spray down, keeping it competitive, but Kirby will secure the round from behind.
Yeah, problem is, when you don't have grenades, you really do want to make sure you are playing up close and personal at B plateau for the first 30 seconds for the possibility of such plow coming into the bomb site. Dignitas taking the full advantage of the situation. They get the entries, and then obviously team kills never going to help the situation, and that's going to be Dignitas almost equalizing the scoreline here already. And again, a bit of armor is being bought by Orbit, so why can't they be just a little bit more conservative with their buys, especially when they've had such a massive first half where things were working out great. You want to be a little bit more conservative, but Victor is having none of that. He's getting 2 kills, but in the end of the day, still situation favors Dignitas.
Yeah, what a time for Dignitas, too. Out of every pistol round they've lost, and it comes into this one, arguably the most important now of the series. They win it. They get off to a great start in this half. Orbit overinvest in some of these rounds. And now we've got Dignitas. Oh, Punisher!
Oh.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, he starts running right behind him. Can he find more than one? Not yet. He pulls out the AK to fight back, and he does bring down Rubino, turning, and Punisher somehow getting this round.
Yeah, okay. And that's why you force buy it, isn't it? To get those kills, and you can justify yourself. The force buy once again. What a great play from Punisher nonetheless. Getting one a config, then Rubino, and finishes it off on Tansky in the end. A nice 180, and then just wins the battle. And well, that really unthinkable just became possible, and then reality afterwards.
How did he get up there? Did they counter boost?
I'm not sure, actually. They may have, yeah.
Config has also go down early in this round. It's Bubble to get that op back out now that the economy is in shape here for Orbit. MSL answers, though. Makes it a 4-on-4, removes the op. Player still out at long. That's going to be Victor, and MSL was so ready for it. Victor's been there almost every round.
Nice entries once again from Dignitas. The numbers favor them, too. They just keep going towards the A bomb side. That's the right direction to go to right now. As I say that, though, Punisher is going to rotate. He's on that balcony, smoking off side hall. I think he may have spotted Kierbu up there. Not 100% sure, but they have done that. The bomb is going to make its way through danger. Might be falling back all the way to B.
Yeah, so they'll avoid having to clear Spy Leader's position. Punisher's still up at A, expecting something, but Dignitas are taking it the complete other way. Rubino maintaining some control. Surprised he's not checking his back to make sure Punisher's not there this time.
Yeah. No bad flashbacks from that.
So Rubino will start to work out into B. There's only one player here right now for Orbit. And that is NKL, hiding and actually watching Drop. Will now have to turn his focus basically everywhere. And yeah, he leaves Drop, and that's exactly where MSL comes from. Takes him down with a very quick headshot. And straight away, Spy Leader and Punisher run to save.
Yeah, interesting positioning from him, to be honest with you. When you're alone on that bomb site, why would you be in an angle where you can just be shot from everywhere, basically? So he's paying the price for it. Spy Leader and Punisher already retreating, trying to save that AWP and AK-47. It's such a back-and-forth affair. Something we were kind of expecting coming into it. But in the fashion that we've had these rounds unfold has maybe been a little different, especially the previous one.
Well, Punisher looks like he's good for one lurking kill. They'll know where he is now, as MSL was going to make it, try to make it expensive for the CTs. And there we go. Dignitas into the double digits now and within one of Orbit. And Orbit will have a decision to make. They've preserved a couple rifles, but all other members are extremely poor. Spy Leader can drop, Punisher can drop off a Moss, so yeah, they will be good to go.
They will definitely be good to go. They are Orbit after all. I can do with very little money.
That's true.
And now it is a possibility for Dignitas to equalize the scoreline, maybe even start dictating this game. And they are seemingly taking things a little bit faster, going for a bit of mid-control, spamming through the doors. But in fact, they do slow down. They haven't gone through mid yet.
Oh, and actually, Victor, this is what I don't understand. We saw it in the first half as well, where Victor was the one guy that was just left with the P250. Like, why are you not giving this man an AK?
Yeah.
It makes no sense. And in that round where he had a P250, someone had died, he picked up that AK and then got 2 kills with it.
It is. I would probably give it to Victor 10 out of 10 times. What do we know?
Yeah,
We're
maybe it's a
watching
Victor
this.
being like, you know what, I'm so confident with pistols as well. I don't care. Like, oh, I'm the best to have any gun. I don't know.
That wouldn't surprise me. That would not surprise me. I think guy talks about black magic.
Yeah, it's funny. And actually, if they might have to end up playing Hellraisers again, which would actually be pretty interesting.
Well, we'll see how that pans out. It is still, this game is wide open. Bubble's gonna miss the shot he should have had, I would argue. Had the opportunity there. And now it's gonna be in a world of trouble here, under a lot of pressure, because his only teammate right now is Victor in connector. He's gonna get the first one on MSL. Maybe that's why he's using that 5-7, but not able to get more than that. It's gonna be just trades going back and forth, and Bubble again in a crucial time, missing a shot he should have had.
Yeah, Bubble not on fire right now, and they pretty much needed him the most, missing 2 relatively easy shots over there on the A site. He's gone down, and Dignitas will keep 3 up and win the round. That's to tie it up. 11-11 here on Cobble, and Orbit's money is completely gone.
Please save Orbit now.
There's no way that
Keep me sane and save. Well, obviously they're going to save at this situation. Don't have much of an option, really. Dignitas doing a good job right now on the T side. And Bubble, obviously, he had opportunities to try to stop that push. Wasn't able to, and I would argue that maybe Victor could have had more kills had he just had a better weapon on that connector area. But Dignitas just plowing in on the bomb site. The first 3 kills going their way. Make it 4 and make it 5. A clean sweep for the Danes.
I liked Config's perspective right there. He's trying. Everyone who tried to kill is just dying. He couldn't react quick enough, and well, that's not a bad problem to have, I think, for Config, as Dignitas just fly through that round, and now Orbit are back to buying, and because they bought P250s, they all have just 1 flash or 1 smoke.
Makes me cry every time. Keeps happening.
It's all right. I brought some tissues today, so
Oh, great.
we're good.
Very good for that. Oh, here comes the big push. This could be the nightmare scenario for Orbit, and it is Kirby with the 2 entry kills. Making 3. NKL is going to be able to answer, but it's all over. It's all the Victor left, and that's what happens when you don't have any utility to work with. A B push comes in, and you get wrecked.
Yeah, and I think Dignitas probably could have picked up on that, right? They know they killed people with some upgraded pistols in the last round, thinking utility might be very low, so let's just fly out B. And Kirby, impressive stuff. I think he had started looking down rectangle before he got blind, but he essentially sprayed those 2 players down blind and then hits the insane shot to the player at Rock. So very, very well done. And it's Victor trying to hold on. Victor with 25 kills, and Rubino, again, I wanted him to be able to step up coming into this map on Cobble. He had a bad performance on Cash. Now he's at 22 frags here.
Yeah, definitely. He has stepped it up, and obviously I think the MVP of this series so far has to be Kirby, though.
Yes, definitely.
Generally speaking, he's done a good job. Victor, though, is he going to be able to save this? At least gets a kill on Atensky. I don't think there was anyone else close enough to be able to get that kill. But this is going to be Kiribu's show right now coming in here. Half blind, gets the first 2. And look at that. I don't think there was any grenades thrown from Orbit to be long. Kiribu says thank you. Gets those 3 first kills of the round before NKL managed to do anything about it. What's going on here?
I don't know. I think Vince made a strange noise. Oh, or maybe it was Launders. I don't know. We'll see. I think NKL had used his smoke, but I don't even know where it went. And obviously it wasn't much of a problem
grenades
for Dignitas. There's now MSL starting out here on round 25. Kill onto Victor. and it's Bubble playing with just a Mag 7. Push back because of the flashes. He does have a teammate with him there in danger, and maybe they can be dangerous. But MSL, yep, he will go down with one shot. They're actually really lucky the bomb did not go up onto that boost. It was close. And now Bubble Molotov out. He has to push forward. Tensky is going to take him out of the round. And they still have to reclaim the bomb, but here's Config. He takes out Punisher, and now Dignitas. They've got the bomb and can pretty much just stick together and take a site.
Exactly, yeah. And Orbit members right now totally separated. We'll need a bit of a lot of a miracle, you could say, for Orbit to get back into this. Kierby doesn't believe in miracles, though. He's going to take out the Spy Leader, leaving just NKL. Has the FAMAS in the B, towards the B bomb site. And the bombs have made its way all the way to A bomb site, so this is not looking pretty for Orbit.
Yeah, so NKL. I mean, we've seen Orbit saving these guns pretty much every round, and it's easy to do on Cobble. This is a massive map. A lot of the area is not really used very often, but tons of hiding places, and there you go. NKL will pick this one.
Wonder if you can boost over that broken roof in there in the B halls.
Oh, like above the museum?
Yeah.
No, there's a invisible clipping. I've tried.
Imagine if you could.
You can no clip
lower.
up there and walk around on top of it.
Okay, I've never actually done that. Back to the game, obviously. Dignitas is going to get their 14th round. Good for them. Almost as good as Pala.
I'd like to say that Paula's hairspray was blocking our monitor earlier on in the
Probably,
day.
for the most part.
It's blocking like the whole right side of the screen. But we can see it now, and it's Dignitas up 3 rounds, 14-11 here. Orbit still just going to probably keep hitting him with the buys. Money is getting pretty low, but their bonus is starting to stack up as well. FAMAS, UMP coming out for Orbit. So not the best of buys, but they do have some nades to work with.
Yep, that's going to make things workable for them, obviously, now. And way slower approach this time from Dignitas. They have sent one player towards the B-bomb side. He's trying to bait nades out of Orbit and kind of succeeded with that too. In the meanwhile, everyone else from Dignitas just waiting for the right moment to do something with middle, or rather side hall it seems right now. And that is where 2 of Orbit's members are right now, stacked up, waiting for a push.
So it looks like they are going to work their way up Danger. So attacking long from both the long haul and from Danger. Victor's going to make that first contact, and MSL just wins that straight up. Left on 12 HP. Now it's Bubble's turn. He brings down Kierby, who was on 100, and Bubble's able to fall back. So it stays a 4-on-4. Bubble, that was quite an angle. And Tensky, also quite a shot for him.
It's just going to be one member from Orbit on that A side, but Dignitas, they're taking their speed time. They still got 50 on the clock to work with. And it seems like it's going to be a big push. But look at this. 2 of the Orbit members are coming in. NKL and Punisher. Rubino, is he going to be able to get one? He does, but it's not going to expect Punisher to be there. They should be traded away by Dignitas already. Well, after a while it happens, but it is still doable for Spy Leader. Has to be said, MSL is so low on HP, and Spy Leader making his way all the way up close. If he can get the kill onto MSL, things could change, but nope, he's not able to. And that's going to be map and serious point for Dignitas.
Yeah, and that got a little chaotic over there at long B, right? After Rubino went down, you expect that trade to come out way quicker.
Yep.
Luckily for Dignitas, or not really luck, they earned it, but they had a 2-man advantage at that point, so even though it was a bit messy, they still had a 2v1 from their perspective and were able to work out onto that B site together. That's match point now for Dignitas, and it's Orbit again. Another buy consisting of some UMP's rifles, and this time even lower on utility.
Yeah, barely nothing left anymore, and just a grenade and a smoke for Spy Leader. None of them. Oh, actually, NKL has a flash. No kits whatsoever. It's a nice grenade taking some damage from Rubino, or HP from Rubino, rather. He's going to be the lone lurker there towards the B-bomb side. Tensky just waiting to throw that very common pop flash to side hole, and that's going to queue up their attack. Tensky MSL going there with Kierby. Victor and his teammate are in an interesting position right now, really 100% banking on a possible middle push coming in from Dignitas.
Yeah, they could be in real trouble. You can see the player up on the boost is looking both ways, and these flashes, how effective will they be? Very effective. Victor blind, and Bubble, he was dealt with straight away. And all other 3 players for Orbit over at B, so forced to rotate in. Config low on HP. Rubino's going to save his life, keeping him alive as he drops Spy Leader. You can see smokes all over the place, trying to slow down the rotations. And Config on low HP. He'll just move over and be the player to maybe make the first contact. NKL will spot one over the truck. Then Molotov's off, still fighting there through the hole in the wall. Config moving up 7 HP, still getting it done, and it's Rubino with the 4K on that last round. Dignitas will take the series.
And just one round on CT side, obviously, for Orbit is just catastrophic. They had their opportunities, and they should have had even a bigger win on the first half, but it's just the lack of coordination from them is just massive, and the lack of the way they spent their money just makes me cry every time.
Was that one of the, sorry, Helium, I don't mean to butt in.
No, go for it.
No, I was going to say, was that one of the main issues then? Because Dignitas there, they had to clutch up quite hard to get back into that map on Cobble. Was that one of the main issues then, economics for...
On the second half, especially on the CT side, when you just don't have the grenades, it's really hard to fend off the attacks.
It was almost that way for both teams, right?
Yeah.
Like there were a couple rounds in the first half where Orbit were just straight up running over Dignitas. It was like they were dominoes, and Victor just kept going like this pretty much every round. And that's because the economy was bad, the weaponry was bad, and the utility was low for quite a few rounds on the CT side for Dignitas.
We're working on getting an interviewee down here. I'm not exactly sure who it's going to be. I'm sure they're going to be very excited to talk to us, so I'm looking forward to that. But Pimp, why don't you give us from your perspective what the issue there was for Orbit? Because there was the chance that they could win that. They pretty much had it at a point there.
They had, and I felt like, especially Cash and Cobblestone, I felt that Orbit were by far the better team in the beginning of each round. Like they were the one getting the first picks, they were the one controlling the rounds in the beginning, and they pretty much outplayed Dignitas in every single way they could until they get the bomb down and then shoot like the afterplant situation. I think I counted 5 4-2 losses in this game from EVE Orbit side, and that's way too much when you're playing against a team like Dignitas. Had they just won those clutch situations, I don't think we would stand here and crowning Dignitas as the winner. Orbit was simply just playing horrible in afterplant situations. In pretty much every other aspect of the game, I felt they were on point. I felt they were just as good as Dignitas, but the afterplant situation simply just ruined their chances of winning this game.
Look who's hopping into the shot right now. Rubino, I think this microphone is for you. Yes, it is. How are you feeling? Are you happy? You've made it through?
Yeah, we're happy. We made the comeback after being under 10-5, but we were confident, and it worked.
To clarify, your team is now the first qualifier to get to the qualification, the offline qualification for ESL 1 Cologne. You're now in the top 2 here, which means that you also have the chance of winning $30,000. How important was it for you to get to this point in the competition?
It was important to get the spot to or the major qualification, because last time as we failed, we had like a lot of pressure on ourselves. Like we want to be on the major, so it was really good to qualify.
Yeah, and something that the guys mentioned with regards to this game in particular, and Orbit being your opponents, was the lack of utility that it seemed to be on the Orbit side, right? Did you feel that Orbit could have utilised their utility better, their grenades and such?
I'm not sure. I don't know. It's really hard to play CT if you don't get the momentum. Like you start good, I think it's really hard to get rounds as CT. Like we also just got 5 rounds as CT, and sometimes it's really hard if the terrorists are playing well, reading the opponents really well, getting the entries and such. It's really easy as T, and we just, I don't know what they could do better.
After that first half, did you feel the pressure, or were you relatively calm, considering it was quite a wide scoreline? It was 10-5 at the end of that first half.
Well, we talked like a team, like as a team, we said like we still got a chance. We are a really good T-sided team on Cobblestone specific, so we didn't feel any pressure. We won the gun run, and we felt like, okay, we're gonna take it.
Pimp, Helium, any of you guys got any questions for Rubino?
Mine would just be when you were on the CT side in the first half. Like you guys kept losing drop early on, and then you kept deciding to retake it. What was your kind of thought process behind that?
Well, I think they like watched the game we played them last time. We got some more CT rounds, I think. I don't remember, but they didn't use the drop as much, I think, and they saw a clear advantage of using drop zone, and because we don't like focus so much on drop zone, and we really didn't have any specific anti-strat or like to take drop on a good way. We just had bad timings. We lost our duels, and it was really bad, actually. But yeah, we just gotta watch it and learn from it.
All right.
Anyone else? Because I've got some things that I could ask myself.
Go ahead.
Hellraisers versus Orbit is the next best of 3. It's the lower bracket final. You'll obviously play the winner. How do you think the match is going to go for those two teams?
It's really hard to say. Like, I saw an interview with Hellraisers yesterday, and they said that they always win versus Orbit, but at this minor qualification, they lost to him. So it's really hard to say. I think both teams are like, they can be mad at each other, and for example, Orbit lost to us now. It could be that they're really tilted and can't continue playing well, but hopefully they will play well, and I think they actually can beat Hellraisers without a problem.
I have a question, by the way. Speaking of which,
Yeah.
was Config tilted because he kept like shooting bodies and slicing bodies, and we were not happy about it?
I don't think it's like a tilt. I think it's more like getting the opponents more tilted, like shooting on them. I don't know, really. It's like sometimes you do that.
Are you against that? Are you bad poor
Definitely.
form?
That's yeah. I think that's just you're just trying to get bad karma.
Oh, okay.
You're gonna get wrecked. For that.
I actually believe in karma, so.
Oh,
So,
all right. It's getting a bit mystic on the desk, and you've managed to turn your fortunes in your favor, and you're now in the final here, and you've qualified for the qualifier. For offline qualifier for ESL 1 Cologne. Congratulations. We are going to look at the map statistics. Rubino, feel free to go away and speak to your team.
go away.
Yeah.
Disappear.
Rubino knows I love him. Me and Rubino, good friends. Thank you very much, Ruben.
These numbers really, I guess, tell a story about on Dignitas side. Obviously, Kirby, like we highlighted while casting that, he was just massive, racking up 68 kills throughout that whole series.
One kill away from everyone's favorite number.
Was it 67?
67, yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
67 is what we're looking at.
Yes.
55 for Rubino. Obviously had a really quiet cash for the most part. Still racking up 55. It's definitely not too bad.
Yeah, are there any stats there on the Orbit side that are particularly telling?
Punisher. He had the most kills, actually. He started off really strong on Mirage. I don't remember Cash as Cash was good as well over in A main. Yep. It was out of Palace over at A on Mirage, and then on Cobble he must have done pretty well as well. Yeah, he had the big round where he had the P250 sneaking around on the back lines, like winning rounds they shouldn't have won, which goes to Pimp's point as well. Like so many rounds that Dignitas should have had. The scoreline should have been more in their favor on both of the maps that they won, but.
I feel like our desk segments, when we're talking with regards to Orbit, are almost like we're talking to them by proxy with regards to their whole roster situation. Do you know what I mean? I mean, aside from the fact you've been talking about utility, the force bind and stuff, we keep coming back to this point that if they want to achieve the highest that they can, they very well might have to consider having a permanent fifth. If you're not aware, again, one of their players, Dreamer, can't play because of certain issues, and they always play with stand-ins at these events.
It's like a taboo to not save his VACT.
I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs of it, so I just don't want to talk on the subject.
It's out there now.
But do you like? Again, is this another match, another best of 3 where this case is proving to be, you know, it could change their favors if they were to have a stable 5 that they could bring to LAN?
Quite obviously. I mean, it's just the experience playing together as a 5-man unit is just so important. It's not only about the numbers that an individual can bring in, it's about the chemistry, it's about the dynamic between those 5 specific players. So 100%, I want them to have a permanent fifth and keep working with that.
Good might also solve the problem when like they lost 4 or 5 4-on-2 situations like in advantage. Yeah. Like I don't know if it comes down to Punisher not knowing how to play the afterplan situations or the communication is not working well, but I guess when you play together 5-man in a team for a while, you tend to lose less of those rounds. And losing 5 in a game against Dignitas is just unacceptable. Like it can maybe happen once or twice in a game or in 3 maps, but losing 5 of those rounds is just not good enough, and it could be a part of the reason why.
All right, good point. Let's take a look at the updated brackets. We'll see them on screen now. Any of you like to run us through it? Helium?
Yeah, so straight away, back to Orbit. We have the crazy upset against Hellraisers, who were looking a little timid, and they got whooped 2-0. Also, the upper bracket there, we had Dignitas beating Ents 2-0, and then into the lower bracket, which was also yesterday. Hellraisers move over Ents with a 2-0. We start off today, Dignitas playing Orbit, and it does go 2-1, which was expected. I think that's what most of us said. And, you know, it went every way on the maps, too.
I thought Orbi could be taking it, but it was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
a matter of very small details that took it away of Dignitas.
Yeah, and arguably they maybe should have, right? That massive
Yep.
first half, and then even in the pistol, like they probably should have had that pistol with Spy Leader's position, and they just kind of dropped it with the bad economic decisions, which again goes back. It's like a broken record.
Yeah. Well, that leads us very nicely into the next match, which is going to be the Hellraisers Orbit rematch, and we'll be back for that after a break. Thank you very much, guys, and we will see all of you shortly.